Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha. Naruto who picks up Kage ninja fragments attributes. Chapter 1. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and I am determined to become Hokage. Although I am still as far away from Naruto as a fingertip universe, I firmly believe that I will definitely become Hokage in the future. As for why I am so confident, there is no other reason, I am just so arrogant. However, my dream seems to have ended today. Naruto, you failed the test again. Wow, Iruka-sensei is so scary, Naruto said as he hugged the test paper and ran away. But after running far away, Naruto slowly showed a frustrated smile. I failed the test again. Then, he suddenly clenched his fists and encouraged himself, but it doesn't matter, becoming Hokage is not that simple. Naruto returned to the classroom, picked up the test paper, frowned and looked at his mistakes, and looked at them carefully for a while. Well, he couldn't see why he was wrong at all. At this time, Iruka came to the classroom, and students immediately gathered around him. Teacher Iruka, there is something I don't understand about the test paper that was sent back today. Looking at the scene where the students were surrounding Iruka and asking questions, Naruto was a little moved, but then, he shook his head and said, I want to become the Hokage. With such a small problem, I will definitely solve it with my hard work. Can answer the question. Naruto waved his hand to encourage himself. Then he immersed himself in the test paper all day. In the evening, Naruto poked his head out of the book and said seriously, well, I can't understand it at all. Although he seemed to be able to understand each word, when they were put together, Naruto said that he couldn't understand it at all. But if you don't understand, keep working hard until you understand. Naruto is not a person who gives up easily. When he woke up the next day, Naruto suddenly raised his hand and said, today is the day when the best painter in Konoha makes his debut. Even if you study hard, you also have to work hard to play pranks. Naruto picked up the brush and paint and came to the Hokage statue, ready to make a scene. But at this moment, a thick book fell from the sky, hitting him directly on the head. Naruto touched a thick book and returned to his home. When he went to play a prank today, he was hit by the book. He smashed a big bag out of him, which made Naruto feel very angry and wanted revenge, but he couldn't find the target for revenge. At that time, Naruto searched for a long time, but he still didn't find out who threw the book at him. Originally, Naruto wanted to throw away the book directly, but the moment his eyes glanced at the title of the book, he was immediately attracted and brought the book back directly. Since no one else wanted it anyway, he could just bring it back. The first part of the book's title was Naruto's reason for bringing it back. Naruto, could it be a book that teaches ninjas how to become Hokage? Naruto's mind is relatively single-minded, so it is natural for him to interpret it simply like this. Suddenly, he became interested. However, as he opened the book, a story called Uzumaki Naruto appeared in it, which made his expression gradually change from excitement at the beginning to anger that he didn't know how to think about, and finally became a little difficult to let go. Naruto put down the book. It told the story of a man named Uzumaki Naruto. Yes, it was about his life story. Although in the story, as the protagonist, he took by Fumi, became Hokage, and reached the pinnacle of life, but for some reason, from the perspective of a bystander, looking at this life from a god's perspective, Naruto felt a little bit it's hard to let go. The fourth Hokage is his father. Father died fighting for the village. The murderer who killed his parents was the Kyuubi in his body. Then, he and the murderer of his parents became good friends and understood each other. Isn't this incredibly stupid? Perhaps because he didn't have the experience of Naruto in that story, it was difficult for Naruto to let go of his future story brought about by this book. Whether it was that he was not treated fairly by the village after his father's sacrifice, or that he forgave the enemy who killed his parents and regarded him as a friend. Each of these things made Naruto quite upset. Naruto is not a person who easily has random thoughts. If he had been thinking randomly for so many years, he might have suffered a mental breakdown and gone crazy. So although he felt a little uncomfortable and couldn't accept it, he finally calmed down. After an unknown amount of time, Naruto decided to go out and find someone. Hinata has 1 year left this year before she can graduate from the ninja academy, but she is an unqualified ninja who can't even beat her younger sister. Of course, her abilities are definitely not mediocre, but she doesn't have the consciousness to be a ninja. Muddling along is her everyday. In this way, one day, she accidentally met a child, a hardworking and serious little boy. His name is Uzumaki Naruto. Although his peers in the village don't play with him, there is a vague meaning of being a parent. But unexpectedly, Hinata's father always has a straight face and is very particular. Although he was a well-behaved person, he did not prohibit Hinata from having contact with this child. Hinata guessed that it was probably because her father thought that because of her temperament, it was impossible for her to become friends with him. No matter what, Hinata actually had almost no contact with the little boy. It wasn't that she was repelled by him like everyone else, but she could just watch from a distance so that she wouldn't overreact. She is a very shy person and always overreacts to any contact with boys she cares about. Why didn't Naruto-kun go out for so long today? At the corner of the street lamp opposite Naruto's house, Hinata stuck out her little head and looked at it, thinking a little strangely at the same time. According to Naruto-kun's routine, he would go out to do some mischief at this time, and then come back on time before dinner. Although he looks like a noisy child, Naruto-kun is actually a child who knows how to eat on time. Hinata frowned and thought for a moment, it would be nice if she could see the scene inside. However, her eyesight is definitely out of reach. Unless you can open your eyes. However, she is a little unskilled in using the Byakugan and may not be able to activate it. Otherwise, just see if you can turn it on, give it a try. Blind eyes. As if to encourage herself, Hinata yelled, then with the realization of failure, she tried to open her Byakugan. Although she felt that she needed to concentrate to turn it on at this time, but, for some reason, she was always thinking about some strange things. What if I open my Byakugan at this time and see Naruto-kun taking a shower, what should I do? Oops, you shouldn't think about these weird things at this time. I must have failed to turn on my eye roll this time. Just as Hinata was thinking this, her field of vision became 360 degrees with no blind spots. It turned on successfully. You're very lucky today, right? Hinata thought in her heart. She usually worked hard for a long time, but she might not be able to succeed. Unexpectedly, she succeeded today. Sure enough, is this the result of not giving up and practicing hard recently? Hinata, who used to be a bit shy in the past, recently felt that she was not sure if she was influenced by Naruto-kun, so she practiced a lot harder than before. Although she definitely still lacks the will to be a ninja, she has worked hard and persisted a lot, and she always feels that she has grown. Hinata thought as she searched Naruto's house. Naruto-kun, where are you? Hinata. Suddenly, a hand patted Hinata's shoulder. When Hinata heard this, she subconsciously turned around, but there was no need. After all, the Byakugan is 360 degrees. Although he was focused on the house, he didn't notice when Naruto came from behind. But when she wasn't distracted, Hinata saw Naruto behind her. This is Naruto-kun, the living Naruto-kun. No, Naruto-kun has never died either. Naruto-kun. Hinata turned her head and lowered her head like a child who had done something wrong. She did not do some things very well. For example, just now, she opened her eyes to look at the house with evil thoughts. But, having said that, she still felt a little bit of regret in her heart. Why didn't you take a shower? No, I mean, why were you behind my back? Bath. Naruto felt that his hearing should be fine, but he didn't understand what he said just now. Why should I take a bath at noon? Hinata felt that the atmosphere was awkward, and Naruto was a little too close, so she stammered, "Hello Naruto-kun, goodbye Naruto-kun." Then, Hinata ran away as fast as she could, etc. Naruto wanted to call her to stop, but in the blink of an eye, the little girl had already disappeared. Suddenly, something was left on the ground. It was a small glowing light ball, which made Naruto squat down with some curiosity and then touched it gently. Picked up one piece of Hyuga Hinata, 6th Hokage, fragment, 1/10. Then, a strange scene appeared in front of Naruto's eyes. The perspective of this picture is like watching a movie. In this scene, a girl with blue light in her eyes, who is somewhat similar to Hinata, is holding a boy who is somewhat similar to Naruto himself, and is slowly walking towards several people wearing black-red cloud robes with several circles in their pupils. The tattooed figure walked away. The girl raised her right hand, and green light appeared around her. Powerful power is released. Repulsion fights repulsion, attraction fights gravity. And wherever the ninjutsu formed by the green light passed, it showed amazing power. Even though the gap between Naruto's strength and these two sides is too big, it can still be vaguely seen that the girl's power is far superior to that of several figures in red clouds and black robes. At this time, Naruto suddenly noticed that the place where several people were confronting was not only in ruins, but also had some fragments like the Hokage statue scattered around. The girl came to the leader in red clouds and black robes, opened her mouth, as if she wanted to say something, but just when Naruto wanted to listen carefully to what the girl said, the scene in front of him suddenly disappeared. At the end of the scene, Naruto found the light entering the novel he had just picked up. Naruto opened the pages of the book again and found that the original content had disappeared, leaving only one page of content in the book. The first page of the book is blank, while the second page has the words, "First Life," written on it. As Naruto turned to the second page, memories began to emerge, as if he had experienced them himself. In memory, after his father, the fourth Hokage, died, a man named Orochimaru became the fifth Hokage. At the end of the memory, Naruto turned over the first page with a feeling. New text suddenly appeared above. Uzumaki Naruto. Ninjutsu. D. Changing. Physical skills. D. Changing. Illusion. D. Changing. Chakra. A. Changing. Yun. F. Changing. Naruto turned to the second page, and there was also a paragraph of text on it. Hinata 6th Hokage fragment, 1/10 can be tried to summon. Note: the trial summoning period is 3 months. Some information flashed through Naruto's mind, and he subconsciously pressed his hand on the words above. Immediately afterwards, a paragraph of text appeared. The trial summoning was successful and we are on our way. Hinata 6th Hokage. Ninjutsu. SS. Physique. SS. Illusion. A. Chakra. A. Yin. A. Naruto looked at the content above, recalling the clear memories in his mind, and suddenly murmured, "Memories from past lives, people from previous lives." With the situation in front of him, Naruto felt that he could only think so. Even though he didn't understand why everything in his previous life was so similar to the world he was experiencing and the people he met now. I don't understand why people from previous lives can appear in this life. However, the memory was too clear, and it didn't look like an illusion. It was possible to say that it might have been like infinite moon destruction. However, the newly added memory in his mind was particularly clear, but it did not affect Naruto's judgment. Although it was very clear, it felt like it happened a long time ago. Naruto shook his head. Since it said on the way, he would wait until she arrived before asking the other party something. Although there is one more person's life memory in his mind, it does not affect what Naruto wants to do now. The Ninja Academy has a ninja teacher this year named Umino Iruka, who is also the head teacher of Naruto's class. In the book that Naruto saw, he was the first person to identify with Naruto in the book. For some reason, after reading the book, the first person Naruto thought of meeting was also Iruka-sensei. However, when Naruto was about to meet, he stopped again and just looked at Iruka from a distance, surrounded by students. Now that we are meeting in the past, what can we ask? He couldn't help but think to himself, Iruka-sensei, I don't understand this question. A student came to Iruka and asked, holding a book. Seeing this, Iruka bent down, lowered his head, and answered him carefully, let me see, well, this is what it looks like here. Is it possible that, like other students, I also ask Iruka-sensei about my studies here? Looking at this scene, Naruto subconsciously thought of the doubtful questions in class yesterday. Like other students, they ask questions they don't understand and then ask Mr. Iruka to help answer them instead of answering them themselves. Have you ever tried it? If it were normal times, then I'm afraid Naruto would definitely think like, I'll do what I say, and then he would be alone to think about solving his study troubles. But now, after Naruto hesitated for a moment, he returned home again, and then carrying the books at home, he came here again to find Iruka. Iruka, teacher, isn't here. When Naruto came here again, he found that teacher Iruka was no longer there. That's right, after all, this is not in the academy, and Mr. Iruka can't stay here forever. Although he thought so in his heart, Naruto still felt a sense of loss, and felt like he was punching the air. Naruto came to the ramen restaurant alone, but opened the curtain and saw Iruka's figure. Iruka, sensei. Naruto, why didn't you go to school again today? Yumino Iruka is a teacher at the Ninja Academy. Iruka is very satisfied with his life at the school. Although the students are occasionally naughty, they are quite studious. However, there was only one person whose learning ability always made Iruka feel worried. That person was his student Uzumaki Naruto, who was treated coldly by the people in the village. However, although everyone thinks he is a demon fox, only Iruka knows that he is not a demon fox, but a very hard-working but clumsy student. However, although Iruka would not doubt Naruto, he had doubts about his teaching ability. Even though Naruto has a special situation, this is an excuse. A truly excellent teacher should be able to teach students in accordance with their aptitude. Iruka had doubts about his abilities, but he was not a person who gave up on himself. If your abilities are not good enough, then find ways to improve your abilities. Iruka has an excellent teacher friend beside him, and he feels that he can learn from him. Mizuki, a young teacher with short silver hair and an excellent figure in the Ninja Academy, raised his head and saw his colleagues in the academy. He asked curiously, Iruka, what do you want from me? Mizuki, I actually want to ask you something. I'll treat you to a drink after school. Mizuki agreed readily. Okay. After school, the two of them went to the ramen restaurant they had arranged to meet. Mizuki drank a little wine and said with a smile, Iruka, it turns out you are struggling with Naruto's affairs. Indeed, Naruto is a very difficult student. Iruka smiled bitterly and shook his head. This was a very powerful problem student. Mizuki swayed the wine glass, and then said, actually speaking, this matter is not complicated. Although Naruto is a very naughty student, he is actually quite easy to control. When Iruka heard the word control, he was slightly startled and frowned. The word sounded uncomfortable to him. Iruka, educating students is actually like raising pets. You need to educate them and make them obey your orders. This is also the quality that a ninja should have. Of course, there will definitely be thorns among the students. For people like Naruto, you need to instill your ideas into him bit by bit at this time, instead of letting him learn and learn all the time. The first thing you need to do is make him think that you are his friend and be on the same page as him, and then slowly influence him. Listening to what Mizuki said, Iruka felt a little horrified for some reason. This method was almost like cultivating some puppets at his mercy. However, Mizuki always used the rhetoric that ninjas must obey orders, which made Iruka want to refute but didn't know how to refute. After Mizuki finished speaking, he drank and prepared to go home. I'm going back first, Iruka. Goodbye, Mizuki. Iruka said goodbye to Mizuki and drank alone, feeling a little uncomfortable. Did he really want to do what Mizuki said? But wouldn't that be erasing a person's personality? Even a ninja should not be a complete killing machine, but a person with his own personality. At this time, the ramen shop owner Ichiraku, who had been listening, suddenly said, although I think what Mr. Mizuki said is a good idea, but when I think about it, what if Naruto becomes polite, knows how to advance and retreat, and is not reckless? I would feel very awkward with someone who is well behaved, gentle, and always listens to other people's orders. Iruka was slightly stunned when he heard this. Indeed, in this way, Naruto would no longer be Naruto. But, if he doesn't do this, Naruto won't listen to him and learn. If Naruto was willing to listen to him and learn, he wouldn't have to worry so much. Just then, Iruka saw Naruto arriving at the ramen restaurant. When Iruka saw Naruto, he immediately grabbed his head with his elbow. He was pissed that Naruto didn't go to school or anything. Naruto was like a drowning person, his hands constantly swinging. Iruka-sensei, I was wrong. Naruto's attitude of immediately admitting his mistake made Iruka slightly stunned. Why did this naughty kid give in at the beginning today? Judging from Iruka's usual contact with him, this naughty kid is very tough-tongued, super invincible and stubborn. Did something happen to you? Are you still holding the book? Do you want to learn something? Iruka felt more and more strange. Naruto heard this, hesitated for a moment, and then nodded. Uruka-sensei, I have some questions to ask you. Study problems. Naruto nodded. Uruka burst out laughing. It was not ridicule, but a little happy. That's right, you don't know enough to know and ask me. This is what you should do normally. Uruka rubbed his head hard. I am a teacher in the academy, and you are a student in the academy. You come to learn from me, not to practice alone in the academy. If you don't understand something, you don't ask me. Working hard by yourself, although it seems admirable, but it's actually not very good for a student. Although it is not wrong to work hard on your own if you don't know what you don't understand. This is an ability to learn independently, but as a student, it is definitely not correct to only do this. Uruka thought Naruto was a clumsy kid. Although he couldn't deny his efforts, he always felt that his efforts were in the wrong direction. But now, it's much better. If you don't understand something, just ask. This is how you act like a student. It's not that Uruka doesn't want to help him usually, but he is not a Junin teacher who can lead a team and can teach 1 to 3. He has to take care of so many students by himself. Sometimes, even if he realizes that some students have problems, he can't help him. It's impossible to cover everything. Uruka-sensei, this, I don't quite understand. Uruka looked carefully at what he was pointing at and began to answer him. Next, Naruto's question suddenly got out of control. He asked a lot of questions, and Uruka also answered a lot of questions. Then gradually, Naruto discovered that there were some problems. Even though he had been practicing hard, trying to remember, and struggling for a long time, he could not explain it in detail like Uruka alone. Is it efficiency? The difference between this made Naruto think thoughtfully, but it didn't feel like it was entirely the case. Naruto suddenly realized that in the memory he just saw, the Naruto was different from him. In his childhood, he was carefully raised by the 5th generation Hokage Orochimaru, so he developed a love for reading books. Habit. Naruto felt that maybe this memory was what really affected him today. Halfway through the conversation between the two, Ichiraku from the ramen shop suddenly showed a gloomy expression and said, "Are you two here to eat ramen or to learn?" "Ah, sorry. I'm sorry, Uncle Ichiraku." Naruto and the two finally ended this state and started eating. After eating, Uruka said he had a treat today. Be careful when you go back at night, Naruto. Yes, Uruka-sensei. Even when they parted, Naruto still didn't ask the question he had originally planned to ask. After all, even if Uruka recognized himself, he could not answer his own questions. Naruto in the book is an extremely strong child who has been moving straight towards his goal of becoming Hokage. Even if there are other things to do in the middle, you still have to become Hokage in the end. However, for today's Naruto, his father is the 4th Hokage. His sacrifice protected the village, but in exchange for his current life. Naruto didn't know if he wanted to complain about him, but at least, Naruto became a little confused about his future after becoming the Hokage. Becoming Hokage is to gain everyone's approval. However, after becoming Hokage, his descendants did not receive preferential treatment, so what is the point of becoming Hokage? It's like I'm a tool person. Everyone comes to me when something happens and I help them enthusiastically, but when I come to see them when something happens, everyone refuses. The 4th Hokage sacrificed himself for himself. He had a good idea before he died. He hoped to leave power to himself, and then inherit this power and become a hero. In terms of results, he did. However, in contrast, the 9 tails was left by the 4th Hokage, and the identity of the Hokage's son should also be left by his father. However, what is linked to the identity of Hokage is that he does not benefit from it. Pay and reward are not equal, this is how Naruto sees it now. The Naruto in the book who is the person involved does not feel this way, but looking at it from God's perspective, Naruto today feels aggrieved no matter how he looks at it. Since he is the son of the Hokage, he should have corresponding status and preferential treatment, this is what Naruto thinks. Even though the Uchiha clan was wiped out, they still enjoyed preferential treatment as an Uchiha clan. The Senju clan, the Hyuga clan, all the families in Konoha, big and small, are like this. It can be seen from the book that the descendants of families who were treated favorably when they were young will have a brighter future in the future. Even if Neji, who is a branch of the family, said he worked hard, if he was not born into the Hyuga clan, could he have become a Junin at such a young age during a non-war period with just hard work? After all, if becoming Hokage is just a symbolic meaning, then why become Hokage? Only those recognized by the village can become Hokage. There are no benefits after becoming Hokage, and you have to die for the village. Thinking about it, Tsunade in the book said that people who want to become Hokage are idiots, which is actually very appropriate. So, what exactly is this Hokage? Although Sasuke in the book also had similar questions, his position was different from Naruto's, so the questions he asked were not actually what Naruto wanted to know. Sasuke never had any doubts about Hokage's position, he just had doubts about the village's existence, because in the book Sasuke's view, his brother Itachi is a person who has perfectly inherited Hokage's ideas, so he actually respects him quite a lot. Hokage, otherwise he wouldn't have asked to become Hokage in the end. But Naruto was different. What is Naruto? What is a village? What is a ninja? What he wanted to know was not Hashirama's own answers in the book, but to witness them with his own eyes. As for the third Hokage who is still in power today, his self-description in the book is that he is a failed Hokage. Obviously he is not a qualified Hokage. Obviously, he couldn't serve as a good example to guide Naruto on the path to Hokage. However, there were only so many Hokages, and there was only one in office. Naruto suddenly felt that his questions might not be answered for the rest of his life. It would be nice if I hadn't seen this novel that is linked to my own life. Naruto couldn't help but think so. Even simple-minded people will have different experiences as long as they read more. And when you look at the story from God's perspective, you will have different ideas from the characters in the book. But, are these necessary for me? In fact, for his life, he only needs to choose between forgiving the villagers or hating the villagers, isn't it enough? There is no way for a simple-minded person like him to think about complex things, right? Naruto tried to convince himself, but he didn't know why. The thirst for knowledge in his heart. This thirst for knowledge that he had never experienced before and should only be possessed by smart children, was constantly pestering him at this moment. In Naruto's heart, a voice came out amidst such entanglement. I don't want to be a fool all the time. Naruto subconsciously recalled the situation when he asked Iruka for advice. Maybe for Naruto, it was because he had this idea of not wanting to be an idiot, that he made the actions and changes he made. After Iruka and Naruto parted ways, on the way back, thinking about Naruto's performance just now, he suddenly realized something. It is true that Naruto is a difficult child to teach, but this does not mean that he will always be a difficult child to teach, especially since he is still a child now. With a little guidance, he can change differently. However, does this mean that as a teacher, he can, like Mizuki said, control a student and turn him into a posture he likes? Iruka thought this was incorrect and that it was erasing the possibility of a child. Because, if the teacher is really completely correct, then Iruka will not just be a teacher, he may be the Hokage now, or he may be another more famous person. If you are right, then you should not stop at this level of achievement. And it is precisely because my own achievements are not high enough that if I point fingers at others, I will be more like a talkative ninja. However, on the other hand, if you are strong enough, you will have more students who will convince you. If I were not a teacher or a chunin, but a jonin or a retired Hokage, would the students be more convinced of me? Thinking of this, Iruka couldn't help but feel a little dazed. In this case, should he pick up the ninja training he once gave up? Just start with basic exercise every day. Iruka thought so. Just when he made this decision, a ball of light fell out of his body. However, Naruto was not here, so he couldn't see the light ball. Naruto was lying in bed at night and suddenly stood up again. Maybe it was because of that memory, or maybe it was because I felt good after asking Iruka for advice today. Naruto took out the textbook issued by the academy and read it for a while. Naruto could truly understand what he couldn't understand before. Naruto was unknowingly immersed in the book and lost track of time. When Naruto came to his senses, he realized that it was already midnight. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, and at this time he subconsciously took out the book he had gotten before. Naruto's information on the first page of this book has undergone some changes. Uzumaki Naruto. Ninjutsu. D. Changing. Physical skills. D. Changing. Illusion. D. Changing. Chakra. A. Changing. Yun. D. Changing. The other data has not changed, but the Shion item has undergone considerable changes. Shion means the degree of mastery of knowledge. Naruto was suddenly a little curious and didn't know what other people's data was like. But, looking back at the Hinata in my memory, her Kenya was only A, so Naruto thought that as a student of the Ninja Academy, it would be good to have a D in Kenya. Moreover, this data is still changing. Obviously, after integrating the memories of that life, Naruto has changed more than just these. Go to sleep. Pulling up the quilt, Naruto was about to fall asleep, but at this moment, there was a click, the window opened, and a figure got in. Not long ago, outside Konoha, the space was torn open, and a girl floated out of it. Long black hair, silver-white pupils with a little bit of blue light, and the Hokage's iconic clothes on the back, with the 6th generation I written on it. The girl was floating in midair, and gravity seemed to have no effect on her. Where's pain? 3 months. Konoha, Naruto-kun. The girl seemed to be receiving information from someone unknown, and paused in midair. After a while, the girl floated away in the direction of Konoha. The girl glided past at extremely fast speeds and soon arrived in front of Konoha's Great Barrier. She didn't stop and moved on. The Great Barrier seemed not to detect her and allowed her to enter Konoha. When the girl passed through the big barrier, her expression was very calm, and she was not worried about being detected by the big barrier. In fact, she did not need to worry at all. Konoha's Great Barrier is almost undefended to the people of Konoha. Almost all Konoha rebels can use the loopholes in the Great Barrier to enter Konoha. And she is not only Konoha's ninja, but also Konoha's Hokage. The girl was flying in midair at high speed, but her eyes fell on the familiar scene on the ground. There was a hint of softness in her eyes, and then she stopped at the house of the 4th Hokage. Naruto-kun. No one. The girl shouted again. Sir Naruto. Still no one. Sir Naruto. Still no one. The girl showed a puzzled expression, and then suddenly thought of a possibility. Maybe Naruto-kun has encountered danger in this world. Naruto is the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, so before the girl came to this world, she had just fought with Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki organization who was collecting tailed beasts. Thinking of this, the blue light in the girl's eyes flickered, and the sealed door of the 4th Hokage's house was blasted open. The girl looked at the somewhat old furnishings inside and realized that her guess seemed inaccurate. Naruto obviously did not live here. Thinking of this, the girl floated up again. After thinking about it, she decided to find someone who would definitely know where Naruto was. Where there is Naruto, there must be that person. Yes, that person is Uchiha Sasuke, the sworn brother who drank the sworn wine with Naruto. That person had drank Naruto-kun's blood, which she had never drunk before. She was so envious. Sasuke was holding a grudge against his brother for not playing with him today. He felt that today was his unlucky day, an unfortunate day. He thought this way until he met this woman. Sasuke. The woman floating in midair asked in a very gentle voice, "Do you know where your brother is?" Sasuke, who was tied to a tree and hung upside down, shook his head crazily. He really didn't know when he had a younger brother. He is already the youngest in the family. Hearing this, the 6th generation Hinata was a little puzzled. How is it possible? How could you not know where your brother is? You eat, sleep, and practice with him almost all the time, so that I don't even have time to date. The ultimate adopted brother, how could you not know where he is? Completely incomprehensible, really incomprehensible. Sasuke in this world actually doesn't know where Naruto is. Is he really out of his mind? Retarded. Show off. No, do you want to hide his news from me? Sasuke shook his head, then, crazy again. Does he really not know that he has a younger brother? Could it be that his father gave birth to another child outside? You really don't know a person named Namikaze Naruto? Sasuke shook his head, and then finally spoke. I really don't know such a person, but... Sasuke thought of his classmates. There is a person named Naruto in our class, but his surname is not Namikaze. His last name is Uzumaki. Swirl. When the 6th generation Hinata heard this, her eyes lit up. She felt that this should be the person she was looking for. Does he have yellow hair? He is very handsome. His eyes can discharge. He is very popular among girls in Konoha. His academic performance is very good. Okay, I love reading. Stop. Sasuke wondered in his mind if there was such a person, how could he not know? That's not the case. Although that person also has yellow hair, he is not handsome at all, and his eyes are not discharged. He is also not popular with girls, his grades are at the bottom of the range, he is very naughty, he doesn't like reading very much, and he is not my younger brother. Quote. Then I might have the wrong person. Hinata put Sasuke down and then flew away. Sasuke looked at her leaving back, thinking about the person she was looking for just now, who was suspected of being his brother, and a very bold idea came to his mind. Could it be that this Naruto is the half-brother his father left behind? Sasuke secretly remembered this person and planned to find time to ask his father. The sixth generation Hinata was still flying around Konoha. Although according to the extra information she gained, Naruto in this world is similar to a reincarnation, but no matter how reincarnated, the two are similar and there can never be such a big difference. Moreover, how could the hero who saved the village be raised like a wild child? According to Sasuke's description, isn't this Naruto, also named Naruto, like a completely uneducated little monkey? Where is Naruto-kun here? Sixth generation Hinata also remembered at this time that Sasuke and Naruto-kun also became genin of the same team after graduating from the academy, and their relationship gradually became better. Maybe Sasuke really doesn't know about Naruto. The sixth generation Hinata murmured. Then go find me in this world. Although it's a bit subtle, the sixth generation Hinata actually doesn't want to see herself in this world. In her original world, during this period of time, she was not only weak, but also cowardly. It's considered her dark history. After all, when I was young, most people had a dark history, and at this time, I didn't have the charm of a woman. People always try to avoid their own dark history if they can. However, now that the matter has come to this, it seems that the only option left is to go see him. Hinata felt her body shaking a little, and then woke up from her sleep. When she opened her eyes, what she saw was an unfamiliar sky. What appeared in front of her was a girl with silver-white pupils, but her eyes were glowing blue. Moreover, Hinata felt strangely that this man was very similar to her in appearance. The sixth generation Hinata looked at this girl who was exactly the same as her past self with a complicated expression. She always felt like she was looking at the dark history of her past self. Hinata, I know you. As for you, please call me Ms. Hinata, who doesn't want to reveal her name. I'm looking for you to confirm a person's whereabouts with you. Do you know where Namikaze Naruto is? The sixth generation Hinata asked straight to the point. Unlike Sasuke, Hinata had no fear of this person who suddenly appeared in front of her and took her away. Because of this person, she felt very close to him. Hinata, Miss, I don't know Namikaze Naruto. She only knew Uzumaki Naruto. Once was a coincidence, twice was accidental, and the third time, sixth generation Hinata suddenly realized that Naruto in this world might have really changed a lot. Sixth generation Hinata thought for a while and then asked, then do you know how many people named Naruto are there in this village? They must be about the same age as you. As far as I know, there is only one named Naruto in the Ninja Academy, but Naruto-kun is Uzumaki Naruto, not Namikaze Naruto. Hearing this, the sixth generation Hinata seemed to realize something, and she asked again, then do you know what the fourth generation Hokage's son is called? What son? The fourth Hokage has no descendants left. The sixth generation Hinata took a deep breath and finally realized the reason for the matter. Naruto's identity as the son of the Hokage in this world was also concealed, and it was concealed quite well. In her world, although Naruto's identity is also concealed, but more of the identity of the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. In fact, many people in the village know his identity as the son of the fourth Hokage. After all, Naruto lives in the house of the fourth Hokage, and the last name has not been changed. Since it's not Naruto Namikaze, then the sixth generation Hinata can't guess who the Naruto in this world is if he contacts the name Sasuke just mentioned. So, do you know a man named Uzumaki Naruto? The sixth generation Hinata asked seriously. Naruto-kun. Of course I know. So, can you tell me, Naruto-kun? Uzumaki Naruto, what kind of person is he? Perhaps because of the inexplicable feeling of intimacy, Hinata subconsciously did not hide anything and spoke out what she knew and what she believed to be the truest Naruto in her heart. Although he is rude, he is also sunny. Although he is a low-ranking person, but he works hard. He is very handsome and has charming eyes. Yeah. After listening to his introduction to this world, the 6th generation Hinata was sure that he had not found the wrong person. Although there seems to be a huge difference, it can still be seen that this one is Naruto-kun. Even though the experiences are different, some important characteristics remain unchanged. After the 6th generation Hinata determined the person he was looking for, he asked Hinata where Naruto lived. Naruto-kun's residence, I don't know. How could I possibly know where Naruto-kun's home is, right? This was a lie. After all, Hinata had gone to peek near Naruto's house countless times. As for why Hinata lied, because if Hinata directly says that she knows, as a person who doesn't have much contact with Naruto-kun and just follows him, she has never been to the other person's house, but she knows where the other person's house is. This doesn't sound like that. What? Hinata pretended not to know anything, which was one of her rare lies. The answer was impossible, so he could only lie like this. Although this Ms. Hinata is a kind person, Hinata said that she still can't say it. Is that so? The 6th generation Hinata thought about it and was not surprised, but she did not believe Hinata's words. She knows her own affairs. How could this Hinata not know where Naruto-kun's home is? If you can deceive other people, could you possibly also deceive yourself? 6th generation Hinata. The 6th generation Hinata thought for a while, took out a photo album from his arms, and then opened it under Hinata's curious eyes. The first picture in the album is a little baby with yellow hair. This one is Naruto-kun's photo album that she has collected for many years. Number 30, 6 copies, and there are 35 other copies of the same style, with basically the same content. This is one of the 35 spare photo albums that the 6th generation Hinata specially made after considering that various natural disasters and man-made disasters may cause damage to the original album at any time. Now, it's time to take action. I'll use this photo of Naruto-kun not long after he was born to exchange Naruto-kun's address with you. Hinata shook her head, but I really don't know. Although it was somewhat attractive, she was too shy to do this kind of thing, so she refused. Plus this one, when Naruto-kun was a few years old, he was put on a baby swim ring and went to take a bath. I have some impression, but it's too vague. Then plus this one, Naruto-kun's. Quite a while, Hinata held 6 photos and told Naruto's address with a blushing face. The 6th generation Hinata felt her heart ached. Although this was her own life, she had sacrificed 6 photos of Naruto. Even if it was a spare photo album, it was still painful as if a piece of flesh had been dug out of her chest. After reaching the deal, the 6th generation Hinata was about to leave, but before leaving, she suddenly reached out her hand, touched Hinata's head and said, I think you have great eyes. After all, this is a pair that can detect Naruto-kun's very special eyes. This is a pair of excellent eyes, this is a fact. After all, these are a pair of eyes with the potential to evolve into the reincarnated eye. However, the 6th generation Hinata believed that what was more important was that these eyes could discover Naruto-kun's strengths. After finishing speaking, the 6th generation Hinata left simply. Hinata stood there, touched the place where her head was touched just now, and then waved her right hand in front of her eyes. Ms. Hinata said I have great eyes. However, I think Hinata-san's eyes are more beautiful. Because, even after hearing what I said about Naruto-kun, Hinata-san didn't find it strange like others, with a look of, what on earth are you talking about? That how could Naruto be such a person with such an expression? But, one thing Hinata was sure of. Hinata carefully hid the photo in her arms. This is something that cannot be seen by anyone except Miss Hinata. In this way, the peaceful Konoha, with the arrival of the 6th generation Hinata, the unchanged scenery gradually began to change. Naruto-kun, Naruto-kun, Naruto-kun. Following the address Hinata said, the 6th generation Hinata found Naruto's home. This time, she shouted several times. Although no one came out to open the door, she did not break in this time. After all, this is so rude. And the house was not sealed, so it looked like there was someone inside this time. Of course, the most important thing is that this is Naruto-kun's home, and she can't do anything too rude. Therefore, I'm coming in, Naruto-kun. The sixth generation Hinata floated in the air, and then the blue light flashed, and then the floor where Naruto's house was gradually separated from the building on the next floor in a burst of clicking sounds. Immediately afterwards, except for the floor, and the house near the floor, the entire house became empty. The sixth generation Hinata waited until the door in front of her was clear enough for her to enter, and then slowly floated in. Guests must enter through the door, otherwise they will be thieves. Later, when the sixth generation Hinata entered, the house also slowly fell, and finally was seamlessly connected to the ground again. Very good. The sixth generation Hinata quietly praised her behavior and then began to explore Naruto's room. However, seeing that Naruto's house was a little messy, she raised her eyebrows slightly, and then rolled up her sleeves. No matter what kind of Naruto-kun he is, he really doesn't know how to take care of himself. Maybe, this is a man, child. Of course, in that world, she did a lot of this kind of thing, so the blue light began to glow again in Hinata's eyes. Afterwards, the cleaning tools in the house started automatically without any wind. In a short time, the room was cleaned, and the clothes were placed on the sofa and on the floor. The clothes everywhere were neatly placed and folded. After doing all this, the sixth generation Hinata slowly stopped moving. However, the sixth generation Hinata looked at the underwear in front of her that had just been sorted but somehow made a slight mistake and forgot to put it in the washing machine, and fell into deep thought. Picked it up and looked at it, then put it down. Then, he said something slightly weird. Are these the underwear of Naruto-kun when he was a child? It's a type of clothing I've never seen before, but it's a pity that I don't have a camera on me. Naruto had a very comfortable sleep this time, extremely comfortable. Then, when he stretched and opened his eyes, what he saw was, why is Hinata here? The sixth generation Hinata not only moved a stool to sit on the edge of the bed last night, but also lay her head on his abdomen while sleeping. Well, there was also a little drool at the corner of her mouth. Suddenly, Naruto realized something was wrong. The current Hinata is about the same age as him, and the Hinata in front of him is obviously 15 or 6 years old. Then the question arises, why does he know what Hinata looks like at this age? Naruto realized something, grabbed the novel next to him with his right hand, and opened it to the second page. Sure enough, the sixth generation Hinata inside had changed from the original state of being on the way to the state of successful trial summoning. Naruto took another look at the sixth generation Hinata, whom he had never seen before but existed in his memory. At this time, as Naruto sat up straight, the sixth generation Hinata also woke up and turned around. Naruto-kun, good morning. Well, good morning, Sir Naruto. Quote. Is there anything else you want to say to me? Naruto shook his head, then suddenly nodded and said, yes. Sixth generation Hinata smiled. What's going on? My legs are a little numb, could you please remove your hands? Naruto pointed at the hand that had been pressing down on the sixth generation Hinata's legs since he woke up, and couldn't help but say, Feel sorry. The sixth generation Hinata quickly put away his hand, but thought with a slightly disappointed expression. I forgot to squeeze a few more times just now. Unexpectedly, Naruto thought that there would be considerable distance between himself and the sixth generation Hinata. However, in fact, throughout the morning's contact, the two seemed to know each other very well. Getting along normally, brushing teeth together normally, washing faces together normally, eating breakfast together normally, because there were too many of them together, so although Naruto thought it was all normal, he always felt that something was not quite right. Finally, after finishing breakfast, Naruto couldn't help but ask, Hinata, don't you find it strange that you came to this world? Hearing this, the sixth generation Hinata thought for a while and then asked, then Naruto-kun, don't you feel strange to me? Naruto was speechless. Indeed, after integrating that memory, it basically doesn't feel strange anymore. The sixth generation Hinata continued. Although at the beginning, I was a little doubtful and entangled about whether the Naruto-kun I met was Naruto-kun, but because Naruto-kun was the same as before when he got along with me, so I think I don't have anything to worry about. Except that I'm a little younger than the Naruto-kun I know, everything else is normal to Naruto-kun. Naruto thought for a while and then said, "Then what will happen to your original world when you come here? Aren't you worried?" "Do not know." The sixth generation Hinata thought for a while and then said, "But it's useless to worry about this, I don't know how to go back. What's more, as long as Naruto-kun is here, I think I can stay at ease." Quote. Naruto blushed at that. This Hinata seems a little different. Correct. Naruto has to go to school later. He used to skip classes every day, but now he doesn't want to skip classes. It's just that the sixth generation Hinata is here today, so he can't just go to class like this. "Hinata, I want to go to school, It's fine if I stay at home, but..." Sixth generation Hinata thought for a moment and then said, "Leave the key to your home with me. I'll be going out later to buy photos and groceries." Naruto nodded. In the world in his memory, when the sixth generation Hinata went to his house to sneak in, he would take the keys to his house and go shopping like he does now. After Naruto gave the key to the sixth generation Hinata, he went to school. After the sixth generation Hinata watched him leave, he slowly said, "There are still more than 2 months, there are some things that only I can do." The sixth generation Hinata looked at the cliff of the Hokage statue. There were only 4 heads, and then thought of things in her original world. Then looking at Naruto-kun's situation, she felt that she could already guess some things. After Master Orochimaru became the 5th Hokage, the 3rd Hokage opposed his human experiments, so he joined forces with the Root organization to try to bring order to the chaos. Later, teacher Orochimaru, Mito Kaden of Konoha's elders, transferred to Koharu, Jiraiya and the Uchiha clan and others joined forces to stop the civil strife. After the civil strife, the 3rd generation of Hokage and Danzo were removed from all responsibilities in Konoha. Position. During this, Danzo once wanted to control Naruto, the 9-tailed Jinchuriki. The 6th generation Hinata's eyes moved slightly. If Orochimaru sensei had not become Hokage, and there were still 3 generations of Hokage in power in this world, it would mean that no one would stop Danzo from his actions. And Orochimaru sensei also became a rebellious ninja. The 6th generation Hinata recalled the information she just learned, and felt that her brain circuit was a bit difficult to change. From Hokage to rebellious ninja, this Orochimaru sensei's style of painting, in this world, what a big change. All in all, the 6th generation Hinata realized that there was a certain danger to Naruto in this world. If it was the Sasuke he knew, then when he came to this world, he would probably kill him and turn everything upside down, right? The 6th generation Hinata thought to himself. But the 6th generation Hinata is Hokage after all, and she has different things to consider. Thinking of this, the 6th generation Hinata raised his head slightly. "Anyway, give yourself a small goal first. Buy a camera, take pictures of everything in the house that is full of Naruto-kun's memories, and then think about other things. Other things don't matter, the most important thing is to take pictures of things that have Naruto-kun's memories." The 6th generation Hinata went out. This time it was daytime, and she did not continue to float. It would have been too eye-catching, and she was still living in Naruto's house. Naturally, she could not be as unscrupulous as when she first came here. However, she stopped as soon as she left the house. The 6th generation Hinata raised her head and looked in a certain direction, blue light blooming in her eyes. 2 huge blue light blades emerged in midair. One swept across the sky towards the Hokage's office, and the other swept towards the Hokage's statue. The 3rd Hokage was listening to the intelligence from his subordinates. Someone reported today that last night, someone attacked Uchiha Sasuke, the youngest son of the Uchiha clan leader, and hung him from a tree. According to Anbu News, Uchiha Sasuke seemed to claim that the person who attacked him last night was a member of the Uchiha clan, but he said that he did not know who this person was. However, the 3rd Hokage had reservations about this. He felt that Danzo might have done it. After all, he often did this kind of thing. The Uchiha clan probably didn't want to find an excuse to put more Anbu alerts because of this incident, so they didn't say that it was something done by Danzo's Root organization. The atmosphere in the Uchiha clan is now a bit tense, as if they will show their fangs at Konoha at any time. Although the 3rd Hokage has sent spies to conduct secret surveillance, there is no definite news from the spies yet. Therefore, the 3rd Hokage was just vigilant and paying attention to Danzo's movements. The troubles of the Uchiha clan are one thing, and the other is that Danzo himself is also a very troublemaking person. At this moment, news came from the Anbu arranged by the third Hokage to keep a close eye on Naruto. Naruto is not only the son of the fourth Hokage, but also the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. His every move affects the situation in Konoha. Therefore, even if the third Hokage does not monitor him, he must send someone to keep a close eye on him. It doesn't matter if you are treated a little indifferently or have minor disasters. The most important thing is not to have a real life-threatening accident. This is the usual policy of the third Hokage. Anyway, with the resilience of the nine-tails Jinchuriki, even if he doesn't eat for several days, he will not die. Because Naruto is usually in Konoha, it is impossible to really encounter life-threatening things, so these arrangements were basically made without special reports from the Anbu who kept a close eye on Naruto. However, today this situation has broken. Looking at the arriving Anbu ninja, the third Hokage quickly asked, "Did something happen to Naruto?" Nowadays, the atmosphere in the Uchiha clan is getting tense. If they plan to take advantage of Naruto, it is very likely that something will happen to him. Anbu replied, "Hokage, a woman of unknown origin has appeared in Naruto's house. We can confirm that she does not have identification documents that have been in and out of Konoha, but she does have a forehead protector from a Konoha ninja." Hearing this, the third Hokage frowned slightly, and then immediately took out the crystal ball, preparing to use ninjutsu to see who this woman was. "Is it her?" The crystal ball showed the situation at the door of Naruto's house. There was a girl with silver-white pupils standing at the door. She looked like she belonged to the Hyuga clan, but the pupils of the Hyuga clan did not glow blue. However, the third Hokage was about to observe this person further. In the crystal ball, the girl suddenly looked towards him. Immediately afterwards, the crystal ball image disappeared. In the Hokage's office, the third Hokage's ears suddenly twitched, and then he looked out the window. The blue light blade that caught his eye made him shout quickly, "Everyone lower their heads." The ninjas didn't know why, but they still lowered their heads. At this moment, a blue blade of light cut across Konoha's office. Fortunately, the third Hokage reminded him that this blue light blade did not hurt anyone. However, the third Hokage could tell that this blue light blade was not intended to hurt anyone. From this height, the blue light blade would basically only chop off a layer of hair of a tall man with a height of more than 2 meters in the Hokage's office building. And where did the 2-meter tall ninja come from in the Hokage's office? This was obviously just a warning, or a threat. This light blade dissipated after cutting open the Hokage's office. At this time, the third Hokage also noticed that another blue light blade was slashing at the Hokage statue. The second blue light blade directly chopped off the hair on the head of the statue of the third Hokage. The third Hokage looked at his bald, hairless Hokage statue and didn't know whether to be frightened or laugh out loud. Subconsciously, he touched the hair on his forehead. "Have someone come and repair the Hokage's office building. We will work elsewhere for the time being. As for the woman living in Naruto's house, leave her alone for now. I will send someone to contact her." What came to the mind of the third Hokage was the silver-white pupils he had just seen, which were similar to the pupils of the Hyuga clan. Perhaps, he should ask Rizu, maybe Rizu would know the information about this person. After the 6th generation Hinata left Naruto's house, she suddenly realized that she might not be able to use the currency in this world. So, where to go to make some money? Although Naruto gave her money, of course Naruto-kun's money should be used as long as possible. After all, the money will be her money in the future. Who can I find to give me money to buy a camera? The 6th generation Hinata thought for a while and thought of someone. As for how to get the other party to give him money, the 6th generation Hinata still has a way. After all, aren't Naruto's houses all treasures that can be sold? Sasuke was hung up all day yesterday, so he didn't sleep very well last night. Sasuke woke up in the morning with a gloomy mood. He thought he would not have a good breakfast, but he found that his brother unexpectedly did not report to the Anbu early but was waiting at home. "Elder brother," Sasuke shouted sweetly. Although the men in their family are a bit old-fashioned and serious, Sasuke is a bit special. He follows his mother and is not so cold-tempered. "Don't you have to report to Anbu early today?" "Well, it's not that busy today." After Itachi answered, he smiled and said, Sasuke, I heard that you were attacked yesterday. Can you tell me in detail? Okay, brother. Although Itachi had already heard the matter from others, he still planned to listen to Sasuke's story and analyze it carefully. Sasuke told most of the story, except for the speculation about his younger brother that he concealed. If the father really had an illegitimate child outside, the family would definitely be in chaos. Although Sasuke is young, he also understands this truth. Itachi heard that Sasuke was hiding something, but he couldn't figure out the purpose of his concealment, and it was not convenient to talk about it now, so he said, I know about this matter, and I will leave it to the clan members of the security team to deal with it. Yeah, brother. After eating, Sasuke went to the toilet and got ready for school. However, when he came from the corridor towards the hall, he heard the conversation between his mother and his brother. Itachi, you didn't go to the Anbu so early today because you heard what happened to Sasuke last night, right? You stayed here to comfort Sasuke, right? Hearing this, Itachi just said, no, I just. Is it? However, Makoto just asked again. Itachi was silent for a moment, but in the end he didn't say no, but nodded and said, I can't hide it from you, mother. I am indeed a little worried. I suddenly encountered such a thing, and I am worried that Sasuke may be psychologically affected by it. As expected, you still care about your brother so much, Itachi. But wouldn't it be better if you told him directly? No, Itachi still hoped that he could maintain the attitude of a stern older brother in front of Sasuke. Outside the door, Sasuke, who heard all this, took a detour and did not continue walking towards the hall, but walked towards the door from somewhere else. In the hall, Itachi looked doubtfully in the direction Sasuke left, but he didn't notice anyone. Sasuke must have gone to school. His father probably walked over just now, right? He thought so in his heart. On the way to school, Sasuke felt happy. He received unexpected concern from his brother, which made him even feel confident that although the girl he met last night tied him to a tree, she might actually be his noble one. If I could meet her again, I might have to say thank you to her. Of course, Sasuke just thought about it casually. After all, forget it at night. How could he be caught in broad daylight and then tied to a big tree and hung upside down? At this moment, a figure appeared in front of Sasuke like a ghost. Surprisingly, it was the 6th generation Hinata, the one who caught Sasuke from the house last night and hung him upside down from a tree. When Sasuke saw the 6th generation Hinata, he broke out in a cold sweat. The thank you just now was instantly forgotten. Sister, do you have anything to do with me? The 6th generation Hinata tried her best to smile and look like an amiable young lady. Sasuke, I want to borrow some money from you. How many? Not much. Sasuke rummaged through his pockets and took out all his pocket money. I only have so much, sister. Sasuke didn't want to experience what he had experienced last night at all, so he honestly handed over all the money. That's all. The 6th generation Hinata must be dissatisfied with this value, but after all, Sasuke is just a child, and she can't ask for too much. Of course, as the Kage of Konoha, he couldn't do something as shameless as robbing children of their money. If we agreed to borrow it, of course we would borrow it. When it comes to borrowing, there must be something similar to an IOU or a mortgage that can be used to collect payment. The 6th generation Hinata reluctantly took out the socks she had just taken out from Naruto's room. It even had a bit of a smell on them. Sasuke, I can't take your money in vain, so I'll use this with you. Let's trade. Sasuke looked at the smelly socks, a little confused. What do you mean by giving me a sock someone else has worn? Not to mention that this one doesn't look like it was worn by a girl. The point is, isn't there only one? The value of this sock is immeasurable. I will put it with you as a mortgage now. When I have money, I will redeem it from you. The 6th generation Hinata was not joking, nor was she just saying it casually. When she said this, she meant it sincerely. She really planned to spend the money to redeem it. Even when she handed it to Sasuke, she was reluctant to part with it. Sasuke didn't know what she was thinking, so he just thought she was joking, so he shook his head and said, No, sister, I will give the money to you. Sasuke just wants to send this plague god away immediately and disappear forever. He was hung from a tree during the first meeting, money was lost during the second meeting, and God knows what will happen at the third meeting. That won't work. The sixth generation Hinata refused righteously. We are not familiar with each other. How can you give me money? This is against the rules. Besides, I don't want to owe you any favors. Sasuke thought for a while and then said, then just think of me as just a tool to give you money. No. Although in the original world of sixth generation Hinata, her relationship with Sasuke there had never been very good, and it was normal for the two to be at odds with each other. However, these are two different things. A personal relationship is a personal relationship, and a business matter is a business matter. If everyone is like you and gives away money when nothing happens, then Konoha's economy will collapse immediately in less than a week. This is a big, serious problem. If everyone gets something for nothing and only knows how to ask for and rob from others, then there will be no labor force or productivity in this organization. After all, the sixth generation Hinata is also a village leader. Sasuke didn't understand this. He was just wondering why it was so serious. It was just a gift of some money. So, in the end, with no other choice, Sasuke had no choice but to accept Naruto's smelly socks that Hinata, the sixth generation, used as payment for his debt. After the transaction, the sixth generation Hinata did not evacuate quickly this time. Instead, he paused every 5 steps and turned back every 10 steps and said, you must keep this sock well until I can redeem it with money. Sasuke, on the other hand, was holding on to the stinky socks, his mind replaying the last reluctant look of the sixth generation Hinata just now, and he said a little helplessly. It seems that throwing it away now won't work. God knows if he throws it away, what she will do to him next time they meet. She might even kill him. Sasuke shook the socks in his hand helplessly. The smell on the socks came, and he couldn't help pinching his nose and said, it smells so bad. Whose are these? How many days has it been since they were washed? When Naruto came to school, he felt that the scenery he saw was completely different. In the past, Naruto was always troubled by the attitudes of the people around him, why his peers didn't play with him, everyone had a cold attitude, etc. To put it bluntly, he was actually too idle. When people are too idle, they will naturally think about trivial things. After all, students at the Ninja Academy don't have so many worries in life. Isn't it work pressure? However, after integrating that experience and the new way of getting along with Mr. Iruka yesterday, Naruto discovered that he actually didn't have that much time to worry about these trivial matters now. Even though he didn't have any friends to play with, Naruto could still have fun playing with Shikamaru and the others when he was little. To put it bluntly, according to the book, he is the son of the 4th Hokage. Even if the villagers don't know, the children of the villagers will be influenced by their ordinary parents, but how can those ninjas with a certain status not know that he is the son of the Hokage? How could these ninjas dare to use that kind of attitude? Otherwise, in the book, he had caused so much trouble and done so many pranks, but why were all the Konoha ninjas still so kind to him? Especially the closeness between Shikamaru and his contemporaries in the Ino, Deer and Butterfly's family, the meaning is self-evident. If you really want to say it, he doesn't have many friends at best, and is regarded as a bad existence by some uneducated and nagging people. But you, an educated person, and some uneducated people, you probably don't even know what the name of the Ninja 3 body technique is. I don't even know what I care about. As for not having many friends, even with the fusion of memories, Naruto Namikaze, who lived under the normal attitude of villagers, actually didn't have many friends. In the end, a person only had a few real friends, and the rest were all interests. Therefore, why does he need to worry so much for these people who are just interested in it? Do we still have to find ways to gain their approval? There is no need at all. So, of course, studying at the Ninja Academy is all you need. Isn't it crazy to think about making friends every day? Ninja Academy is a place for learning, not a place for making friends. Naruto corrected his attitude and began to study seriously. Take notes in class, mark what you don't understand, and then ask Mr. Iruka after class, or extract useful knowledge from the fused memory, just like this. Naruto discovered for the first time that the class time of the Ninja Academy, is it too much? When the bell rang, Naruto tilted his head, feeling that this was not going to work. There is no way to enjoy studying at all. So, he suddenly raised his hand and shouted loudly, Teacher Iruka, I think there is too little class time. I hope I can add more classes. As soon as the voice came out, the students in the class immediately paid attention. Moreover, that look was quite ominous. When Sasuke came to the academy, he gradually calmed down. Although there was still a smelly sock in his pocket, it did not affect his normal class. The Uchiha clan was not pampered and could still afford to suffer. However, when he came to the academy, what bothered Sasuke was that there was a particularly noisy child in the class. This kid doesn't go to class, makes noises every day, and talks about wanting to be Hokage, which makes Sasuke very annoyed. Ah, it's Sasuke-kun. Sasuke-kun. When Sasuke came to the classroom, the nymphomaniacs who often surrounded him in the class began to make noises one by one, which annoyed him. School is a place for classes and learning. What do these people think of this place? Although Sasuke follows his mother's temperament and is not very cold, under the training of these nymphomaniacs, he gradually develops the attitude of, I am cool, in the academy. After all, these are these nymphomaniacs. If you are not cool, if you talk to them, you will probably get pestered by them. Sasuke's eyes were cold, but this cold attitude made these nymphomaniacs scream even more coolly. At this time, Naruto also walked into the teacher. In Sasuke's heart, Naruto was the second source of trouble for him, second only to the woman he met before. Of course, before meeting that woman last night, Naruto was the source of trouble in Sasuke's heart, of first place. As Uzumaki Naruto, who ranked second on the list of sources of trouble in Sasuke's heart, entered the classroom, people in the classroom began to talk about it. Especially the nympho no. One Haruno Sakura next to him shouted in displeasure, what? Naruto is in class today too. Because trouble source 2 annoys nymphomaniac number 1 every day, nymphomaniac number 1 hates trouble source 2. But to Sasuke's expectation, Naruto just glanced at Sakura and continued walking towards his seat. You know, usually even if Sakura looks disgusted, Naruto will come close to her like a licking dog. For some reason, Sasuke subconsciously thought of that young lady. Indeed, compared to the group of young girls in the class, that young lady is the most attractive woman. Unfortunately, he, Uchiha Sasuke, didn't have much interest in women. He only had the idea of surpassing his brother in his mind, even if they were attractive women. It was precisely in order to surpass his brother that Sasuke listened carefully to the class. Even though he is a member of the Uchiha clan, the school's courses can still bring him considerable progress. It's a pity that there are too few courses in the school. For someone like him who is dedicated to learning and thirsty for knowledge, others may have enough learning, but it is not enough for him. It would be great if I could learn more. As the bell rang, Sasuke couldn't help but think this. Just when Mr. Iruka was about to announce the end of Get Out of Class, a man stood up and said what Sasuke wanted to say but didn't say. Teacher Iruka, I think there is too little class time. I hope I can add more classes. Naturally, Iruka couldn't just agree to this sentence. After all, the school also had regulations, and classes had to be dismissed on time. Naruto, although it's a good thing that you want to learn more, listen up Naruto, you haven't become a ninja yet, so you may not know it, but ninjas must abide by the rules. Ninjas who break the rules will be despised. Quote. Sasuke listened, convinced that this was a ninja. This was also the reason why he clearly wanted to learn but didn't say it out loud. Ninja was a disciplined profession, and not finishing Get Out of Class on time was obviously not following the rules. Naruto frowned slightly when he heard this. Admittedly, Iruka had a point. But, is what Iruka said correct? Maybe not. If what Iruka said is correct, then why is he just a teacher at the Ninja Academy and not a Kage? Then, his words must be incorrect. But, where exactly is the incorrect part? Naruto has the memories of 2 people, and the memories of another person. He is not only a ninja, but also a Junin. The memory of a Jonin who had gone through multiple missions quickly gave Naruto quite a hint. At the same time, when I was reading the novel before, something Kakashi said suddenly came to mind. Iruka-sensei, do you think it is more important to follow the rules or to protect your companions? Iruka was immediately stunned by the question. He is a teacher, and he must teach things that are in line with ninja rules, so he cannot be as deviant as Kakashi. Let's talk about his own understanding. People who violate ninja rules are called garbage. However, those who do not know how to value their companions are worse than trash. This sentence does sound nice to say, but in actual practice, how can it be used as a judgment alone? However, Naruto did not make it difficult for Iruka. He continued, Teacher Iruka, I think the two are equally important, and these should not be two opposing choices, but should be coexisting choices. These are two simultaneous options that exist under learning. We cannot violate the rules of ninjas, but on the battlefield, if you want to succeed in a mission, you need strength, and strength is not just a matter of saying, I will defeat you, I will not lose, or, I will surpass you, but it should be through unremitting efforts and learning. Iruka couldn't help but nodded at these words, indeed. Moreover, he seemed to understand what Naruto meant. Do you think that whether it is the rules of ninja or protecting your companions, strength is required, and strength requires learning, right? That's right, Mr. Iruka. Now that we have more classes, we will learn a little more than students in other classes, so that we will be more likely to survive on the battlefield in the future. While others are playing, we are learning and getting stronger. While others are sleeping, we are learning and getting stronger. While others are wasting their lives, we are still learning and becoming stronger. Do you think that we, like this, will not be stronger than other Konoha students who graduated at the same time in the future? Not that other Konoha students who graduated at the same time will be able to survive on the battlefield more easily. Iruka thought about this statement. It did make sense. If you study more now, you will be able to use more skills and become more proficient on the battlefield in the future. Isn't this an advantage? But, is he going to break the ninja rules for this? Iruka was silent. For a long time, he glanced at the students in the class. He could name everyone here, and he would get along with everyone here for several years. Everyone here is a companion of Konoha. At this moment, Iruka had a choice in his mind. Okay, we'll take extra classes. However, when Iruka spoke, someone in the class shouted, Wait, Iruka-sensei, I object. Naruto's words indeed caused quite a stir in the class. Some people think it makes sense, like Sasuke, they think it makes sense. Although Shikamaru hates trouble, he believes that to become an ordinary ninja, you must have the most basic strength, otherwise you will not be ordinary, but a useless ninja, so he also agrees. There are many people like them who want to become stronger. But there are also some people who are unhappy, but they are not unhappy about the extra classes, but they are unhappy about Naruto, who is the last person in the class. Naruto is such a loser, why should he speak on their behalf? As the representative of this group of people, Inuzuka Kiba stood up. Teacher Iruka, I object. Why does Naruto represent us? That's right, how can Naruto represent us if he's just behind the wheel? If he wants to take extra classes, go and take extra classes himself. Yes, I am against extra classes. I am against Naruto. Seeing this, Yaya grinned and said, That's right, Mr. Iruka, we. Kiba had prepared lines that could be spoken eloquently for half an hour, but at this moment, Sasuke suddenly interrupted him, Iruka-sensei, I agree. Chapter 11. When Kiba rose to object, Naruto had actually given up. Only then did he realize that the thing, friends, that he thought was unimportant at first was actually quite important. Without friends, not so many people would support him. Naruto felt a little disappointed and prepared to sit down again. But at this moment, Sasuke suddenly expressed his approval. Then, to Naruto's surprise, the situation of the entire class suddenly changed. The girl who had been shouting her objections just now was immediately stabbed in the back. Sasuke agrees, and so do I. You are so cunning, I agree. It's so fun to study. Let me learn, let me learn, let me learn. Teacher, I love learning so much. Not only girls, but also many boys expressed their support. If it was the old Naruto, then he would definitely be jealous of Sasuke and his luck. But now, he is thinking about other issues. He thought that he had no friends and therefore could not get support from others, but did Sasuke have friends? No, Naruto was sure that Sasuke had no friends just like himself. Indeed, some of the people who supported me just now were girls, but there were also quite a few boys. So, leaving aside girls, why does Sasuke get the support of boys? Of course, it's not over yet. Even though the wind direction has changed now, Ya, as an iron-headed boy, has not yet reached the point of giving up, I still object. Iruka-sensei, I. At this time, Ya's words aroused public outrage. Shut up, Inuzuka, Sasuke-kun has said that class will continue, what do you object to? That is. Akamaru stood up straight on Kiba's head, and then growled, using its actions to show support for its master. Ya touched Akamaru's head and said through gritted teeth, anyway, I am against it. He, Inuzuka Kiba, will not give in. It's just a few little girls who want him to give in. What are you dreaming about? At this time, someone threw the stationery and hit Ya on the head, breaking his forehead. Although Kiba had conducted gentle sparring at the Ninja Academy, he had never encountered such an unexpected attack. He was a little confused for a moment. Then another girl shouted, I am against teeth. Yes, I also object to Ya's objection. Ya suddenly came back to his senses. He was angry, he was really angry. Do these women really think he is so easy to bully? He, Mr. Kiba Inuzuka, is going to use his strength today to make this group of women the dominant one on campus. Today, he is going to strike hard here. At this moment, someone suddenly threw stationery over. Yeah, let's throw him. Throw him. Turn him against Sasuke. A group of women threw everything they had on hand. At this moment, Ya realized that it was difficult for 2 fists to defeat 4 hands. Moreover, if you want to say that he is not very afraid of blunt weapons, these stationary items are mixed with attacks with sharp ends like pens. Of course, you can't be stupid enough to pick it up with your face. It would be bad if it got stuck somewhere. But, do these women think he will give in like this? Who is he? He is a genius of the Inuzuka clan and aspires to become Hokage. How could he succumb to a group of girls of the same age? Don't look down on him too much, Inuzuka Kiba. Then Ya yelled, I object to what I just objected to. The whole place was silent. Well, how should I put it? The instant confrontation made Ya realize that in terms of strength, the opponent was stronger, so it was better not to confront them head on here, and to counterattack them when he found an opportunity later. How do you say that? It's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Ya clenched his fists and trembled all over. Strength, or not enough strength. If he had the strength, he would not be insulted like this. He could defeat all these women by himself. If he had the strength, he wouldn't be as submissive as he is now. He must have just punched hard. He wants to become stronger, and in order to become stronger he must study, and in order to learn he must let Mr. Iruka continue teaching. Just wait, you stinky fools. Ya glanced at the group of female classmates coldly. 30 years in Hidong and 30 years in Hexi. After he studies and becomes stronger, he will show off to these female classmates. You are now wasting your time chasing Sasuke, while Inuzuka Kiba is concentrating on studying until graduation. These female classmates will most likely not be able to pass the graduation exam and will have to retake it, but Kiba Inuzuka will definitely be able to become a Genin, then pass the Chunin exam to become a Chunin, then be promoted to a special Junin, a Junin, and finally become a Hokage, reaching the pinnacle of life. Thinking of this, Ya snorted coldly and sat down again. He remembered this humiliation, but this revenge will be repaid after he finishes his studies. Since everyone agrees, then I will continue to add classes. Seeing that there was no objection, Iruka decided to continue the class even if he would be criticized, and started procrastinating class for the first time in his life. At least, Iruka is now working hard to instill knowledge in the hope that if he can teach more, these students will be able to survive on the battlefield in the future. Children, you must survive on the battlefield. After 6th generation Hinata mortgaged one of Naruto's socks in exchange for money and bought a cheap camera, she began to think about another thing. Depending on the situation, she will have to stay here for a lot of time, and it is definitely necessary to spend something. However, it is impossible for her to use this method to exchange money from other people every time. After all, for her, the loss was a bit too great. With so many treasures being mortgaged, wouldn't she suffer a big loss if someone stole 1 or 2 of them? The 6th generation Hinata thought so in his heart. You have to think of a long-term way to make money. After all, he was a Hokage, and the 6th generation Hinata still had a very open mind. For example, he could make a lot of money by reselling the scrolls of forbidden arts studied by Orochimaru-sensei. However, the 6th generation Hinata felt that many of the methods were not appropriate. After all, she was likely to receive a lot of attention. Although she is also receiving attention now, but her strength is there, and her origin is unknown. These people may choose to wait and see, except for the iron-headed Danzo. At least the third Hokage, the old man who is not straightforward enough in doing things, must be taking a standstill. But if she revealed something of value, she might attract different attention. Although she is not afraid, is it very troublesome? What's more, she has to consider whether Naruto-kun will be in trouble if she leaves in the future. The sixth generation Hinata thought for a while, feeling that he couldn't think of any good ideas in a hurry, so he had better relax first and do something serious. Naruto-kun's photography exhibition, here I come. This is where Naruto-kun slept, take a photo. The sixth generation Hinata squatted in front of the sofa and touched it lightly with his fingers. The touch of the sofa's appearance and the vague sunken feeling meant that someone must have slept on it. This is where Naruto-kun eats, take a photo. The sixth generation Hinata squatted at the door of the toilet and moved his nose. Some very strange smell could be vaguely heard from inside. This was the smell that could be produced when someone eats instant noodles in the toilet for a long time and the aroma of instant noodles accumulates over time. This is where Naruto-kun left his mark, take a photo. The sixth generation Hinata came to the bed and moved her nose. It was the smell of Naruto-kun's sweat. However, there was no other smell, and there were no traces of fighting. It was initially concluded that Naruto-kun was still an ignorant child. The sixth generation Hinata, who was recording, suddenly stopped. This name doesn't seem to work. The sixth generation Hinata will write a simple entry about the content of the photo behind each photo in Naruto-kun's photo album. Regarding this photo, the sixth generation Hinata thought about it and felt that using the term, Naruto-kun's traces, was obviously not suitable for the name of this photo, so she crossed out the name and rewrote, Naruto-kun proof of purity. Take a picture of where Naruto-kun is doing his homework. Picture where Naruto-kun is crying. After taking one picture after another, the sixth generation Hinata was satisfied and then stopped. In this way, Naruto-kun's photo album can be added to another 30 pages. Counting the original 650 pages, her Naruto-kun photo album would have 680 pages, with one page containing 4 photos, which means an additional 120 photos. However, you have to find time to back it up. 35 books, which means 4,200 photos need to be backed up. It's another expense. The sixth generation Hinata felt that there were so many places to spend money. As expected, as Naruto-kun's cook, she had to work hard to make more money, otherwise she wouldn't be able to cook for Naruto-kun. After taking the photo, the sixth generation Hinata found a box, put the film in, and set up a barrier ninjutsu. Without Kage-level strength, this barrier ninjutsu could not be broken through. Not only must it be preserved, but it must also be preserved properly to avoid damage or theft. But after thinking about it, there are still 1 or 2 shadow-level people in the village, and what if Metkai, who is super strong in physical skills and has a powerful trump card in the village, wants to open this box, steal her treasure, and activate the 8 gates of escape at the 8th door? She kicked the barrier she had set up to pieces and took away the negatives inside. Wouldn't she cry to death? However, she had no other good place to put it, so she had to give up temporarily, but still set up another barrier. After thinking about it, I felt it was still not safe, so I set up another layer of barrier. This still seems to be unsafe, and another layer of barrier has been set up. After a while, the 6th generation Hinata set up the 66-layer barrier ninjutsu, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said a little out of breath, "This way, even if Kai, who is super strong in physical skills, comes over, all 8 gates will be opened, and he will kick the last kick should be enough to block one." However, the continuous setting of 66 layers of barrier ninjutsu still consumes a lot of money for the 6th generation Hinata. This kind of thing is basically impossible to do in actual combat. However, the 6th generation Hinata looked at the box with 66 levels of barrier ninjutsu and suddenly realized that something was wrong, but he did not realize that something was wrong. For a long time, she shook her head and ignored the strange feeling for the time being. The 6th generation Hinata stretched and said, "This way today's mission is completed. After taking photos and protecting the negatives properly, today's daily task of Naruto-kun's kitchen is complete." The 6th generation Hinata looked at the time and found that it was already the end of class, but Naruto had not come back. Although it was a bit strange, a good woman doesn't have to interfere with her man's everything, and Naruto-kun's the purity proves that she just took the photo. It is safe, there is no problem at all, there is no need to worry at all. The sixth generation Hinata came to the kitchen and put on an apron. Anyway, let's prepare a sumptuous dinner for Naruto-kun. Seafood instant noodles, done. Beef instant noodles, done. Pork ribs instant noodles, done. At this time, someone should slowly type a question mark. Isn't this all instant noodles? As if by telepathy, after the sixth generation Hinata prepared 10 large buckets of instant noodles, Naruto opened the door. After Naruto entered the house, he saw a table of instant noodles, and once he didn't feel strange, he confirmed that these were tonight's dinner. Although this Hinata seems to be able to do all the housework, in fact, she is completely incompetent in cooking skills. After all, in addition to practicing with Orochimaru, he usually studied, and later he became the Hokage. However, Naruto was not qualified to say anything. No matter which memory it was, his life was accompanied by instant noodles. However, when Naruto looked at the panting sixth generation Hinata, he was still a little moved. Although it was hard to understand that he was not good at cooking and would be out of breath even after making instant noodles for dinner, but he still had to be moved. After dinner, Naruto subconsciously picked up the book, but then looked at the sixth generation Hinata next to him, and felt that there was someone at home, so it seemed difficult to start studying directly. In my memory, most of the topics the two talked about were related to the development of the village. Although there are some things in it that are still a bit difficult for Naruto to understand now, but the basic framework can be understood. In that world, the fifth Hokage Orochimaru was committed to the popularization of knowledge. In addition to the original Konoha Academy, he also opened many other institutions for cultivating ninja knowledge. This gave birth to an era of Konoha ninjutsu where 100 flowers bloomed. This was the contribution of the fifth generation Hokage in that world, and as the sixth generation Hokage, Hinata became Hokage very young. She studied under Orochimaru and followed his methods to further improve the environment for learning ninjutsu. It can be said that that world is very special. Ninjas who research and develop new ninjutsu can be seen everywhere. Even ordinary people can participate in it and contribute to the development of ninjutsu. Compared to this world, where ninjas and ordinary people are clearly separated, that Konoha made Naruto feel quite novel and attractive. However, recalling that memory, Naruto couldn't help but think of the past Hokages. Whether it is the first Hokage who established Konoha, the second Hokage who determined the direction of Konoha's development, or the third Hokage who had conflicts with Naruto himself, Naruto's father the fourth Hokage, or the fifth Hokage of this world Tsunade, the fifth Hokage of that world, Orochimaru. Each of them is not only a Hokage, but also recognized by the villagers. What now echoes in Naruto's mind is the scene of his classmates supporting Sasuke just now, and the fact that his words were not recognized by others. Hinata, you are also Hokage. Do you think only those who are recognized by everyone can become Hokage? What came to Naruto's mind subconsciously was the words said by Itachi Uchiha in the book. It's not that you will be recognized by everyone after becoming Hokage, but that you become Hokage because you were recognized by everyone. Naruto thought this sentence was quite reasonable and very flavorful. However, when the sixth generation Hinata heard this, he was slightly stunned, and then subconsciously asked, Naruto-kun, has anyone told you something like this? It's not that you will be recognized by everyone after becoming Hokage, but because you were recognized by everyone. Everyone recognizes him, so he became Hokage. Don't believe it. This is someone who has never been Hokage. He is just trying to imagine what Hokage is like. Naruto. After the sixth generation Hinata said this, he did not continue. Instead, he went to the refrigerator and took out the pudding he bought when he went out today. Since she didn't have much money left, she spent a long time shopping around to find a place selling pudding at a discount. We need snacks after dinner. Sixth generation Hinata took a bite, showed a happy expression, and took another bite with a spoon. Naruto-kun, do you want it? Although his tone was calm when he asked, he was actually full of emotions. Indirect kiss, indirect kiss, indirect kiss. Quote. No need. Naruto was more interested in the topic that the sixth generation Hinata had just talked about. What does that sentence mean? Obviously what Itachi said should be very reasonable. Why did the 6th generation Hinata think it was just imagining it? Hinata, what did you mean by what you just said? When the 6th generation Hinata saw that Naruto didn't want it, he continued to eat the pudding. That sentence is actually neither accurate nor correct. At least for people who have never been Hokage, it is true. But that's actually very strange, and basically impossible. Let me ask you, Naruto-kun, can you understand your thoughts? Naruto heard this and shook his head. No. Then do you think adults can understand your thoughts? Naruto shook his head as well. That's it. This is the age gap. The simplest one can also negate the age gap among those who recognize this. What is right for you may not be right for others. Basically, no matter how good and capable a person is, he can only affect some people, and like Naruto. It is said to be recognized by the villagers, but the villagers only represent the existing group of people with labor force. However, what the villagers today recognize more is my former father, the 4th Hokage. Just me watch and see. The 6th generation Hinata spoke eloquently. Therefore, the 3rd Hokage wants to hide Naruto-kun's identity. On the one hand, it is the order of his father, the 4th Hokage. On the other hand, it is also to consider the order and stability of the village. Step by step, he reduced the presence of his father, the 4th Hokage bit by bit, and then gradually allowed everyone to recognize him again. He obviously succeeded. At least I walked around today and didn't hear anyone complain about my father. The 4th Hokage had too big a reaction. Of course, this has nothing to do with selfishness, but if other managers have too much influence, it will gradually become difficult for today's managers to control the situation even if they have no other ideas. So in fact, that sentence should be divided into 2 stages. Although it is true that to become Hokage, you must be recognized by the villagers, but after becoming Hokage, you must make the villagers recognize you. For example, when Konoha was first established, Uchiha Madara couldn't recognize this. He thought that others did not recognize him and only recognized the first Hokage, so he had no chance to become Hokage. However, in fact, as long as he stays in the village for a while, no matter how excellent the first Hokage's ruling method is, other conflicts will definitely appear soon as the village develops. Among them, the Uchiha clan is the biggest unstable factor. At that time, he can take advantage of the situation and rise up, without ending up in the original situation of betrayal and separation. Or Danzo, after the 3rd Hokage was appointed as Hokage, he did not wait for the opportunity, but immediately competed with the 3rd Hokage for the position of Hokage. He was bound to fail. He failed in the war as the 3rd Hokage, and there were problems with the policy of governing the village. And then seize his faults, find faults, cause conflicts, and take advantage of the situation, the success rate will definitely be much higher. In short, no matter who it is, even teacher or Orochimaru or me, there will definitely be times when they are not recognized by the villagers for a short period of time because of something they have done. This is a good time to take away our position as Hokage. However, throughout the history of Konoha, no ambitious person who robs the Hokage can patiently lurk. They are all too reckless. Be steady, be cautious, be cowardly, and wait for the opportunity. In fact, there is a chance to pull the Hokage down. I forgot where I saw a book, and there was a sentence in it that said, "Princes, generals, and ministers all have their own kind. The great names take turns to do it, and they came to my house today." The same is true for Naruto. Well, Naruto-kun. As the 6th generation Hinata spoke, she suddenly glanced at Naruto, and then asked seriously, "You ask, do you also want to become Hokage? If so, I will help you become Hokage." The 6th generation Hinata raised his chest and looked like I am a professional in this regard. But Naruto was still deeply involved in what the 6th generation Hinata said. Naruto, Naruto, Naruto. 6th generation Hinata's words described to him a more realistic, but also clearer image of Naruto. To put it bluntly, his position as Hokage came from the 3rd Hokage's oral description. The overwhelming will of fire was instilled in him, allowing him to imagine the position of Hokage as beautiful and dreamy, like a dreamland. However, as a Hokage, the 6th generation Hinata expounded on a completely different Hokage from that described by the 3rd Hokage. If the 3rd Hokage's way of Hokage is the Hokage of the Senju clan, then the 6th generation Hinata's way of Hokage is Orochimaru's way of Hokage. Even though Orochimaru was trained by the 3rd Hokage, he was a deviant. Even if he became Hokage, he would still be a deviant Hokage. The 3rd Hokage's Hokage is a dream, and Orochimaru's Hokage is reality and right. Although Naruto originally thought that he would be more repulsive to the realistic style of Hokage like Orochimaru, but for some reason, he had a more special recognition of this kind of Hokage. It's a very simple and pure reason: it's too tiring to become Hokage the way the Senju clan did. If the people in this village had the value of making him work so hard, then he might do it, but he didn't. If the Konoha village in the world where the 6th generation Hinata was, he might have such thoughts, but at least he didn't have such thoughts in this Konoha village. After all, this village didn't bring much good impression to him. However, similarly, Naruto surprisingly did not feel anger, hatred or other emotions. After all, although it is strange to think like this, it is integrated with the memory of another Naruto and looks out of the frame. What these people do is actually completely understandable, and it can be said to be human nature. In the case of unequal information, they only knew that Naruto was related to the Kyuubi, but they did not know that Naruto was the son of the 4th Hokage and would definitely be angry, and hate him. What the 6th generation Hinata said should obviously contain a relatively large amount of information and require constant consideration, but Naruto felt that he could easily accept it. The fundamental reason lies in the fused memory of Naruto. He has read so many books that Naruto can find similar things from countless books that can be used as reference. Sure enough, reading more is beneficial. After a while, Naruto made a major decision in his heart. Naruto stood up, put his hands on the 6th generation Hinata's shoulders, and looked directly into her eyes. Hinata, the 6th generation Hinata, who had always been very casual and promiscuous, felt quite embarrassed when Naruto looked at her like this, and even stammered when she spoke. Naruto-kun, do you have? What is it? At this moment, she even looked a bit like Hinata in this world. Although this version of her attack power is indeed explosive, her defense is still at the original level, and she is like a paper tiger when attacked. This scene made Naruto stunned for a moment, and he almost forgot what he was about to say, but he quickly recovered and said seriously, "Hinata, I want to be Hokage, help me." Hearing Naruto's words, 6th generation Hinata was stunned for a moment, and then said, "Wait a minute, Naruto-kun, keep this action, this expression, this posture for a while, and I'll bring something over here. Go and come back." Naruto was slightly startled when he heard this, but still maintained his posture. At this time, the 6th generation Hinata hurriedly arrived at the box where the negatives had been placed. She also put her camera inside just now. Hurry up and take out your camera and take a picture of the moment when Naruto-kun wants to become Hokage. How could you miss the moment when Naruto wants to become Hokage? However, when the 6th generation Hinata looked at the layers of barrier techniques, she finally realized what she had just ignored. I actually forgot to open a back door for the enchantment so that I could open the box myself. But it doesn't matter. If you don't have a key, just make a key to unlock it yourself. Then, a blue light began to appear in the 6th generation's eyes. The blue seeking jade surrounds the 6th generation Hinata. The 6th generation Hinata floated high into the sky along the window, and then the golden wheel is reborn. Since you can't find a way to open the barrier key, you can manually crack the lock yourself. Blast. Although this is an extremely powerful ninjutsu, it can even split the moon with one blow when used at full strength, but now it is impossible for the 6th generation Hinata to use all his strength, and this barrier technique was reinforced by the 6th generation Hinata himself, with dozens of layers added, so just such a small blow cannot split it open. The golden wheel is reborn. The golden wheel is reborn. The 6th generation Hinata used it 3 times in a row, and finally blasted away the countless barrier techniques he had set up. But her chakra is almost at its lowest point. The barrier technique was set up before, but now it is split open immediately, which is a bit self-inflicted. But the 6th generation Hinata couldn't care less. After all, a trivial matter like the bottoming out of chakra is not as important as the moment of Naruto-kun's life. The 6th generation Hinata split the barrier, opened the box, and took out the camera. Next time she decided to take it with her and not find a place to store it, Otherwise, if the same thing happened again, her chakra consumption would not be able to withstand it. The sixth generation Hinata took the camera and returned to the house. At this time, Naruto still maintained his previous posture without moving. However, it can be seen from his slightly shaking movements that he actually maintained this posture for a long time. Seeing this, the sixth generation Hinata didn't waste any time. He took out his camera and took a picture of Naruto's still maintaining posture. As a click sound was heard, the light of the camera lit up. A photo was also frozen. This camera can also take photos directly while retaining the negatives. However, the quality of the photos taken directly will be much worse. Sixth generation Hinata took the photo and breathed a sigh of relief. She smiled and responded, "I will help you become Hokage, Naruto-kun." Naruto didn't dare to move at this time, so he asked, "Can you move, Hinata?" "Can." The sixth generation Hinata was about to answer, but suddenly she felt a little shaken. At this time, she realized the impact of chakra consumption. "Naruto-kun, I might have to take a nap, chakra. Too much consumption today." As he spoke, Naruto slowly fell down amid the panic expression on his face. However, when the sixth generation Hinata fell, a ball of light fell out of her body. Naruto didn't care about picking up the light ball at this time, and quickly hugged the sixth generation Hinata who was about to fall. Although the sixth generation Hinata was the same age as a little sister to him and was much taller than him, Naruto, who was trained as a ninja, was still able to hold her firmly. After shaking the other person and confirming that the sixth generation Hinata was just sleeping, and could even hear her even breathing, Naruto felt relieved. Naruto carried the sixth generation Hinata to lie down on the bed. After covering her with a quilt, he returned to the place where he was just now, looked at the light ball on the ground, stretched out his hand, and touched the light ball. This light group also turned into a ray of light and entered Naruto's book. A familiar voice sounded at the same time. "I picked up a fragment of Inuzuka Kiba, the first president of the Ninja Beast Protection Association 1/1. In addition, there are some screen clips similar to those that appeared when the sixth generation Hinata fragment was picked up." Among the ruins, Kiba hugged Akamaru's body and howled. Although the scenes this time are about the same length, they don't contain much content. As the scene ended, the information about this tooth was also remembered in the memories integrated in Naruto's mind. This Kiba comes from the same world as the sixth generation Hinata. During the Chunin exams, Akamaru was killed. After being decadent for a while, Kiba gradually embarked on a new path. However, the path that Kiba took in that world made Naruto show a somewhat subtle expression. Of course, since he was a member of Konoha from the sixth generation Hinata's world and showed no signs of betraying the village, Naruto thought it would be okay to summon him. Although he didn't think so much when he summoned the sixth generation Hinata for the first time, but if he summons it again in the future, he must consider the impact of the summoned person. It would be fine if they were just people from Konoha, but if hostile ninjas were summoned, Naruto might be killed in turn. Therefore, be sure to think twice before calling. And this tooth is obviously within the safe range. Naruto turned to the third page, which was still blank, but when he turned back and let go of the second page, he could see the information of Inuzuka Kiba, the first president of the Ninpo Association. Ninjutsu. S. Physique. A. Illusion. A. Chakra. B. Yin. A. Compared with the sixth generation Hinata, the overall ability is much weaker. Only ninjutsu has reached S level, and the others are all at A level or even only B level. However, according to Naruto's fused memory, although this data does not look good, this Inuzuka Kiba is not weak at all. In terms of the combat power of Konoha ninjas, they should be stronger than Kakashi today. As for whether he has the combat capability of the Sannin level, it is difficult to evaluate. However, unlike the sixth generation Hinata, who obviously has full favorability, Naruto from another world actually has few points of contact with Kiba from another world. I don't know what his attitude will be towards me after being summoned. The space shattered. An extremely serious-looking young man in a suit landed on the ground sitting on a dog-shaped creature that looked a bit punk and exuded a metallic texture. The young man in a suit moved his eyes slightly and looked at the village next to him. Does Konoha look like this in this world? Anyway, let's go find Naruto and Hokage first. Although there are still some things that I am curious about in this world, these two are the first people I need to find now. The young man in a suit bit his thumb and cast a psychic spell on the ground. One after another, ninja beasts came out of it, 1,000 of them. This amount is enough for the time being. These ninja beasts have the same punk style as the metal dog. At the same time, their eyes, except for the pupils, are all black and have very thick eye shadow. In addition, there is some strange crack-like feeling all over the body. 1,000 ninja beasts used their own movement methods to sneak into Konoha. And not even the Konoha gatekeeper ninja at the door noticed the existence of any ninja beast. Did Danzo-sama give an order to assemble? A special Junin of the root organization got the news and prepared to go. At this moment, a strange ninja beast appeared in front of him. This ninja beast looked like a turtle, but it exuded a metallic texture. It was one of the strange ninja beasts that the young man in a suit had just channeled. In the 6th generation Hinata's inadvertent actions, the people in power in Konoha were actually faced with different choices at this time. The 3rd Hokage jumped above the Hokage's office building and looked at the unconcealed attack in the air. That location, the 3rd Hokage remembered, was where Naruto's home was. Is something wrong? The 3rd Hokage frowned slightly. Not long after, an Anbu ninja who was observing Naruto came over to report. That woman left just now, and it was suspected that chakra was consumed too much when he came back and he fell into a coma. Have you encountered an enemy? Is this an opportunity? This situation of the 6th generation Hinata made the 3rd Hokage a little tempted, but he quickly stopped this unrealistic thought. The 3rd Hokage is a conservative after all. There is too little information about the opponent now, and it still needs to be observed. This looks like an opportunity, but what if it's actually a trap? The 3rd Hokage knew that since the death of the 4th Hokage, Konoha could no longer afford to experience turmoil. Therefore, every time he faced the crushing force of powerful forces, he chose to be patient. Even the former shinobi is now just an old man struggling to support the village. But he was cautious, and others would not. The first thing that came to the mind of the 3rd Hokage was the figure who chose to bear the darkness of Konoha. Soon, the 3rd Hokage issued an order, asking the Anbu to seal off Naruto's home, not to let others approach, and to restrain the ninjas in the village. He especially emphasized the root organization on this last point. For Danzo, if it is something less risky and radical, then he can still let it go, but he can't rest assured about something like this that involves a threat to the village. Hopefully, nothing will happen. The 3rd Hokage looked at the newly repaired Hokage's office building, and then at the statue of himself with his head shaved on the Hokage cliff. Even for someone as proficient in ninjutsu as he is, and has mastered a large number of ninjutsu, such ninjutsu is unheard of. It's not just as simple as being powerful, being able to use ninjutsu to perfectly shave a statue that originally had hair into a statue without hair. This is not something that can be described simply as powerful ninjutsu. If the 3rd Hokage had to say it, it would be, it was so weird that it even made him feel a little scary. Although the turtle ninja beast was crouching next to him, this special Junin of the root organization seemed not to notice this strange ninja beast and continued towards the root organization's gathering place. This strange turtle-like ninja beast followed the group of ninjas to the gathering place. It lay on the ground, with a pair of eyes that emitted mechanical light and looked like sophisticated electronic instruments. It quickly processed information about these root organization members. Information. Suddenly, a kunai stabbed where the turtle was. The kunai easily pierced the turtle, but when the kunai penetrated the turtle, the wound recovered strangely quickly. The moment the kunai pierced the turtle, one of the few sentient ninjas in the root organization, Yamazes, suddenly appeared where the turtle was. However, Shanfang didn't seem to see the turtle. The turtle was clearly next to him at this time. Shanfang was also a little confused. Although his kunai did feel like it was stabbed just now, no living thing was injured or killed, and there were no signs of other non-living things being hit. Wind, what's wrong? At this time, an extremely cold-looking old man came here. He was Danzo, the leader of the root organization. Shanfang hesitated for a moment and then said, "Lord Danzo, there seems to be someone else here." Originally, he would not make such an ambiguous report, but this matter revealed something strange, and he could not make a complete conclusion. "Can you find someone?" When Danzo heard this, his pupils shrank and he asked. Can't find it. Then don't worry about it for now, it's probably the little mouse sent by Sarutobi. Danzo made a decision. He gathered people from the root organization, but there were other important matters. And it was not surprising that there would be 1 or 2 people in the Anbu organization under the third Hokage who could avoid the perception of Yamaphase. Just as the third Hokage thought, Danzo, who also received the news from the Anbu, immediately thought of cutting through the mess quickly and eliminating the danger. Sarutobi was still too conservative. Faced with such uncertain factors, he should seize the opportunity to eliminate him directly. Danzo subconsciously recalled the long-distant memory, which was the scene when the second Hokage was about to die and was trapped in an enemy ambush like them. At that time, the second Hokage asked a question that would later haunt Danzo for the rest of his life. When the second-generation Hokage asked the ninjas present who wanted to sever the queen, Danzo himself did not answer decisively because of fear, but the third-generation Hokage directly said that he wanted to sever the queen. Although it turned out that the second-generation Hokage went to the throne on his own and they all escaped successfully, but that was the beginning of Danzo missing becoming Hokage. Therefore, the third-generation Hokage was designated as Hokage. From that time on, Danzo's life went downhill. After failing to compete with the third Hokage for Hokage, he fell completely into darkness and did all kinds of dirty work for Konoha. In fact, Danzo has never regretted having been responsible for the darkness of Konoha for most of his life. The only thing he regrets so far is that he didn't choose to end his career at that time, so even if there is only one chance, he just wants to prove that he is different from the one who made the choice at that time, and this is enough. He always thought that what he lacked was an opportunity like that to prove himself, an opportunity to prove that he could sacrifice for the village. And now, this opportunity has finally arrived. The enemy was so powerful that even the third Hokage had to compromise and tolerate it. The third Hokage did not act rashly under a strong threat, but Danzo can use this incident to prove that he is different from the past, and now he has the consciousness to sacrifice himself for the village. What better opportunity to prove his Danzo than this? Success can prove that you have changed, and sacrificing yourself to protect the village after failure can also prove that you have changed. Sarutobi, this time, I will prove that I am ahead of you. Danzo's mind wandered, and the members of the root organization began to act according to his will. Naruto was not unaware of the undercurrent in Konoha. Integrated with Naruto's knowledge from another world, he can now somewhat discern the whereabouts of the Anbu ninjas squatting near his home. After all, we are all ninjas, and they are not two unrelated professional environments. Naruto was in his room, looking at the 6th generation Hinata lying on the bed, clenching his fists. Although it is still unknown why the 6th generation Hinata consumes so much chakra, I am afraid that there will definitely be a battle surrounding her now. No matter what, Naruto must protect her. The best way to get others to recognize you is not to do things that make others feel good, benefit others, or please others. This is just dog licking. Naruto formed a seal with his hands, telling him about the different action choices he had made over the years, which were different from those in the past. If I want others to look at me and recognize my existence, if I have a Rasengan in my hand, I will hit the other person in the face with a Rasengan. This is the best way to make others look at themselves and not be able to ignore themselves. In this world, Naruto spent several years playing pranks, trying to attract others' attention, and then few people looked at him at all. As for the 6th generation Hinata, she came into this world for only one day, and then, she only did one thing to make the 3rd Hokage pay attention to her. It is the attention that comes from the threat she possesses. No one would care about a Genin-level rebel ninja, so Sasuke had defected for more than 2 years. If Naruto didn't look for it, no one would even pay attention to whether there was a defected ninja named Sasuke in Konoha. As for the rebellious ninjas of the Akatsuki organization, almost as soon as their true names are revealed, everyone knows them, and they are constantly on guard and vigilant. Naruto cannot be an ordinary person, so he can only choose to be a nuclear warhead. In fact, if he wanted to now, he could use the knowledge he had gained and use the Kyuubi's chakra. But he refused. Naruto didn't want to get in touch with Kyuubi before he figured out whether Kyuubi was a friend or an enemy who killed his parents. Besides, a real ninja should not rely too much on external forces. He formed seals with his hands, and used the ninjutsu he had learned since fusing his memory. Ninjutsu, multiple shadow clone technique. Ninjutsu, transformation technique. Naruto's room suddenly had many more decorations, and there was only one shadow clone of him in the room, holding a kunai, lying in wait at the door. As for his true body, he found another place to hide. In another world, Naruto, who is also good at shadow clones, often chooses this combat method, hiding his true body and launching shadow clone strategic attacks. Because of this, in that memory in another world, Naruto was often called that. Naruto Namikaze, the oldest Yinbi ninja in Konoha. Danzo went out with the ninjas of the Root Organization. This time, he brought almost all the elite ninjas of the Root Organization. Only success is allowed, no failure is allowed, this is his idea. Failure does not mean that he is alive, it means that the woman is alive. As for Danzo's own life or death, he doesn't care. However, when he arrived in front of Naruto's house, Danzo stopped and looked at the Anbu ninjas who had revealed themselves from a distance. They didn't care about their identity being exposed and wanted to block the approach of some people. These people are naturally referring to Danzo and his Root Organization. Danzo knew the third Hokage's order, and it was impossible for these Anbu ninjas in Konoha to disobey him and let him in. And it was impossible for him to harm Konoha's companions. In this way, no matter what Danzo's reasons are, he will not be able to stay in Konoha. However, Sarutobi, you are still too naive after all. The third Hokage had no idea how determined Danzo was to do this. Shanfeng came to Danzo and asked, Danzo-sama, do you want to follow the plan? Let them move. Danzo's voice was cold and authentic. As soon as Danzo finished speaking, one of those Anbu ninjas suddenly took action and knocked down the rest of the Anbu ninjas. Upon seeing this, Danzo stopped hiding his whereabouts and walked over. The ninja knelt in front of Danzo, then took out a kunai and said, Master Danzo, the rest is up to you. You did very well. Danzo watched him commit suicide expressionlessly, and said according to his original plan, an Anbu ninja defected to Konoha and was killed by members of our Root Organization. Faced with the sacrifice of their companions, the members of the Root Organization remained expressionless, as if the deceased was not a companion they had worked with. A group of members of the Root Organization jumped into Naruto's home. The members of the Root Organization worked rigorously. After entering Naruto's home, they immediately searched the place from top to bottom, leaving only Naruto's room in the end. Danzo came to the door and looked towards the mountain wind. Shanfeng was a perceptive ninja, and he immediately noticed something strange inside. Danzo-sama, take advantage of the chakra you have. Although the mountain wind was used a lot, Danzo didn't think it would really be a lot. He just asked, how many? 562 chakra reactions. Danzo was silent, then slowly typed a question mark. Just this house, can we hide 560 or 2 people? Shanfeng confirmed again carefully, and then said, they are all the same person. I suspect they used the shadow clone technique. Danzo was silent, and then slowly typed another question mark. One person uses more than 500 shadow clones. Does Danzo think this subordinate has betrayed him? Kushina Uzumaki couldn't do this back then. Danzo looked at Shanfeng's eyes for a moment and felt a little bad. But after all, they were trained by themselves, and Danzo is still confident that they will not betray him. So, Danzo thought for a while and asked, is it possible that the other party used some method to interfere with your perception? Shanfeng thought for a while and nodded, it's possible. Indeed, he also found it strange that there should be so many shadow clones. This is something that even a Jinchuriki cannot do, and where are the ninjas who can easily separate more than 500 shadow clones into one room? Danzo saw that Shanjiang confirmed his guess, and he also thought that what he thought should be correct, so he said, let's go in first. Since the other party uses this kind of ninjutsu that interferes with our judgment, then he must be in a state now. It's a very dangerous state, and the previous information should be true. The other party even dared to provoke the third Hokage before, but now they came to the door with great fanfare, but chose to use this tactic that interfered with their judgment. This undoubtedly showed that the other party did not have the confidence and calmness before. The corners of Danzo's mouth curled up. However, he would not rush in with a group of people rashly. In this state, the other party might lay a trap. After thinking for a while, Danzo asked a ninja from the root organization to go in first. After the ninjas of the root organization entered, Shanfeng suddenly asked, Danzo-sama, is it a little dangerous to only let one member of the root organization in? Danzo heard this and said, it is indeed very dangerous. When Shanfeng heard this, he immediately showed a puzzled expression. At this time, Danzo continued, however, when has a member of the root organization performed a non-dangerous mission? I let him in because he has the highest survivability among all our ninjas, so even if he is not careful, if he was seriously injured, the possibility of him escaping is very high. And as long as he can escape, we can get information. Shanfeng's eyes lit up and he praised, you are worthy of Danzo-sama. Shanfeng suddenly looked like he was hesitant to speak. Danzo saw this and asked, you want to know why I think he has the highest vitality? Obviously all ninjas of the root organization should have corresponding survival abilities, and everyone receives the same training. The training received by the members of the root organization is basically the same. Only those who can complete the training are almost never trained more than others. After all, the training of the root organization is more rigorous than that of ordinary Anbu. Shanfeng nodded. Danzo was silent for a moment and said, because he is the one who can endure pain the most among the members of the root organization. Even if he was nearly fatally injured, he could still maintain his sanity, escape from the enemy's camp, and pass on the news, come out. When Shanfeng heard this, he seemed to think of a certain ninja. He exclaimed, he is the one from 3 years ago, and his words stopped abruptly. Many of the identities of the members of the root organization are also secretive, so Shanfeng did not say anything further. However, if it is that person, then even if he is really fatally injured, he will definitely be able to bring out the information. Unless he dies, denying the possibility of completing the mission is high. And since Lord Danzo said that the opponent has extremely strong survivability, then there must be corresponding means of escaping from the battle. Otherwise, how could he escape with serious injuries and take away the information? Enduring pain cannot be his entire advantage, but only the main advantage. At this moment, screams came from the door. Danzo frowned at first, because this was exactly the sound made by the members of the root organization he sent in. However, he quickly calmed down, and this level was not worth making a fuss about. However, Danzo soon realized that something was wrong, because the member of the root organization did not come out. Danzo couldn't help but ask, is he dead? Feng. Shanfeng sensed it and showed a strange expression. No, and his chakra has no obvious changes after being injured, or the chakra chaos that occurs after being enchanted. Danzo understood. The implication was that the other party was not dead, but fainted because of something. Danzo then said, open the door and take a look. When the members of this organization entered, they suddenly noticed something strange. Why is the floor at the door so high? Then, when he lowered his head and looked over, the floor suddenly changed and turned into Naruto's appearance. This was one of Naruto's shadow clones, and he grabbed the opponent's legs. Although he didn't know why, the other party didn't sense the abnormality in his chakra, but he seized this opportunity. The tissue ninja sensed something was wrong, and pierced Naruto's shadow clone that was grabbing his feet with a kunai. When Naruto turned into a shadow clone and disappeared, he was slightly stunned. At this time, from all directions, more than 30 Narutos released their shadow clones, and the objects in the room that were originally furnishings suddenly changed into Naruto's appearance, and then neatly launched attacks on the vital points of this root organization ninja. Naruto 36 eggs. It's an egg, not a bomb. Mark the key points. Kicking a certain vital part 36 times in a row, this is one of Namikaze Naruto's taijutsu techniques. As for the power of this move, it really hurts to look at. Naruto thought to himself as he looked at the members of the root organization who were covering their lower bodies and slowly falling to the ground. Even a ninja with super strong physical skills will cause severe damage once he encounters such a direct attack. Even the Hokage, Uchiha Madara, couldn't maintain their demeanor and calmness the moment they were kicked in the balls. And this is just one of the small tricks of Namikaze Naruto's old Yinbi tactics. Naruto knew that a way to break this move would soon be found, so he had already begun to formulate the next tactic. Naruto looked at the members of the root organization who fell on the ground, formed seals with his hands, and once again restored the room to its previous state. As for the members of the root organization who fell on the ground, they were taken out by Danzo and others after opening the door. Are you going to attack Dandan? Danzo murmured that it seemed that this enemy was more difficult than he thought. At least the ninjas who would attack this place were definitely not the serious type who would act according to the rules. The more dishonest a person is, the more elusive it is to know what tactics he will use. If you are an ordinary ninja, you will probably feel a certain amount of fear when you see this scene. However, the training received by the members of the root organization is far beyond what ordinary ninjas can imagine. Even if they cannot bear the pain, they will not feel afraid. At this time, Shanfeng stood up and said, Lord Danzo, if not, let me go in next. No. You are still useful. Among the ninjas brought here this time, although there are also those with other sensory abilities, there is no doubt that Yamaphase is the leader in sensory abilities. Danzo cannot let him risk losing his combat effectiveness here. After thinking for a while, Danzo used a compromise method and said, you use the hard turn technique to control a person to enter, and then escape before encountering an attack that cannot be resisted, and take away the information in time. After all, except for Shanfeng, there was no guarantee that anyone else would be able to bring out information if they went in, and when the situation was unclear, he shouldn't risk taking people in. He is not afraid of death, but he is not willing to die lightly. Yes, Danzo-sama. This time, Shanfeng controlled a ninja to enter. Entering inside, as expected, he was immediately attacked by Naruto. However, after all, Shanfeng was not comparable to the member of the root organization just now. Although his feet were grabbed, he did not panic at all. He dragged Naruto, who was hugging his legs, with one kick, and then kicked other Naruto in the air. Every member of the root organization is an all-round ninja with corresponding attainments in close combat. Although the memory of another Naruto fused by Naruto also had corresponding melee combat accomplishments, his own physical abilities did not meet the standards for use, so he was unable to fully utilize them. At this time, when facing well-trained root organization members, this gap becomes apparent. Several Narutos were quickly knocked down by Yamaphase's attacks. The shadow clone is no better than the real body. As long as it receives a certain attack, it will disappear immediately. After Naruto's shadow clones were defeated and disappeared one after another, his counterattack arrived. Indeed, Naruto may not be able to use the ability of close combat even if he has mastered the knowledge, but he can skillfully use some skills that have nothing to do with physical ability. Among them, the simplest and most effective are joint techniques. The joint technique combined with the shadow clone can produce a very powerful combination effect. Under this kind of offensive, even though Yamazaka continued to fight for a while, as more and more shadow clones joined in, more than 50 Naruto shadow clones, after sacrificing more shadow clones, finally defeated Yamazaka. The wind subdued. Afterwards, Naruto followed the law. Naruto 36 eggs. The members of the root organization screamed and fell down, but before Naruto used this move, he noticed a change in the other person's eyes. Through the fused memory and the book he had seen, Naruto's eyes moved slightly and he made a judgment. This is the Yamanaka family's mind-turning technique. It seems that this trick cannot be used next time. Even after defeating one or two root organization ninjas, Naruto still did not feel arrogant. Calm, calm, more calm. This is also the core of Namikaze Naruto-style tactics. Shameless and calm, these are the two core tactics of this fighting method. Naruto maintained his composure and began to think about how shameless the upcoming battle would be. He tried to take on the opponent's thinking. If this was the current situation, what attack method would the opponent choose next? After a while, Naruto's eyes moved slightly. Among the ninjutsu he has mastered, there is actually one ninjutsu that is very suitable for this kind of combat situation. That was in the book, a super powerful ninjutsu that even Kage Otsutsuki couldn't resist. By transforming it, it can be turned into a powerful ninjutsu that specifically restrains root tissue. Lord Danzo, these are what I saw inside. After listening to Shanfeng's report, Danzo's face turned ugly instantly, and he said dissatisfiedly, he is obviously the son of the Hokage, but he still does nonsense. Danzo had always disliked Naruto. He was both the son of the Hokage and a Jinchuriki, but he didn't do anything serious all day long and wasted his youth and time every day. If he was allowed to train him, then Naruto would definitely, Really don't know what that idiot Sarutobi is thinking. Danzo felt unhappy, but facing the situation in front of him, he also found it difficult. There is no doubt that in Konoha village, apart from the Uzumaki clan, only the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan can become the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. However, compared with the Uzumaki clan, it also depends on the timing for the emergence of a suitable carrier for Jinchuriki from these two clans. When the fourth Hokage chose Naruto, he considered many factors, but in fact it was also because apart from his son, there was almost no other child suitable to be the carrier of the nine tails in the village. The Jinchuriki requires an extremely large amount of chakra as a carrier, and the nine-tailed Jinchuriki requires more chakra than the other eight-tailed beasts. It can be said that every Jinchuriki carrier has the qualifications to become a Junin, even if the tailed beast factor is removed. Therefore, Danzo never thought about what to do to Naruto, whether to take him to root tissue culture, or to do anything threatening to him. He would do this only if he was really out of his mind. Anyone who dared to do something inappropriate to Naruto was basically taken to tea by the Anbu and given a lesson. If Danzo dared to do this, the end would definitely not be much better. It can be said that the Nine Tails Jinchuriki has a more special status than other Jinchuriki in the ninja village. Not only is he the only Jinchuriki in Konoha, but he is also almost a single-generation Jinchuriki. Unless he brings another child of the Uzumaki clan back to the village, the Kyuubi will really be the property of their family. However, since the destruction of the Uzumaki kingdom, the relationship between Konoha and the Uzumaki clan is actually only the historical relationship of the close relationship before. Therefore, if Naruto intends to protect that person, then for Danzo, he can only take action against that person while bypassing Naruto. This was his plan from the beginning, but he underestimated Naruto's strength, and this was where Danzo found it tricky. However, Danzo is also a decisive person. Since he can't get around it, he will have a head-on confrontation. First subdue the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. The arrow has to be fired when it is on the string. This is Danzo's current position. Now, he can only subdue Naruto first and then continue his plan. Danzo gave the order, and even Shanfang, who had some brains and could discern the situation, did not continue to talk at this time, but was ready to act in accordance with Danzo's order. Several members of the Roots entered the house together. Now that it was confirmed that it was Naruto who was obstructing him, and Naruto's tactics were determined, then, in Danzo's opinion, things were not that difficult. After all, no matter how good Naruto's plan is, his basic strength is only that of a ninja academy student. With such a gap in basic strength, it is simply impossible for Naruto to. Just when Danzo thought this, the exclamations of several Root organization members came from the room. Then there was silence again. After waiting for a while, Danzo let people in. As soon as they entered, they saw several members of the Root organization lying on the ground, their life or death unknown. Danzo couldn't help but look at Shanfang, obviously wanting to ask him why this happened. Shanfang was also confused. In his opinion, such a result should not occur. No matter what strategy Naruto uses, it should be impossible to defeat the members of the Root organization. You must know that he had been fighting with Naruto for a long time just now. With several members of the Root organization cooperating with each other, it would be difficult for Naruto to use the same attack. Yamazaka glanced at Danzo, and then said, "Danzo-sama, let me use the heart turn jutsu again to go in and have a look." Danzo nodded. He also wanted to know how these members of the Root organization were defeated. Next, Mountain Wind controls a member of the Root organization to enter it. Not long after, his exclamation came from inside. Immediately afterwards, Shanfang returned to his true body, but at this time he covered his lower body. Apparently, for some reasons just now, he did not have time to avoid Naruto's attack. At this time, Shanfang's face was twisted, and then he stammered to Danzo, "Duanzo-sama, it's your." Before he could finish speaking, Shanfang fell to the ground due to intense pain and passed out. Danzo frowned slightly. Naruto once again exceeded his expectations. If it was only a bit of a threat originally, now Naruto is already a great threat in Danzo's eyes. After all, in addition to this unknown tactic, what is more important is his identity. At this time, Danzo no longer hesitated and decided to take the initiative himself. Danzo put the members of the root organization on guard on the left and right, and then he stood in the middle. Even if he wants to venture in, he needs to enter in the safest state and under all-round protection. Then, let me see, Nine Tails Jinchuriki, how did you defeat them? Danzo said as he opened the door. Then, the purpose is. The battle of ninjas is an intelligence battle, so it seems that there is an absolute gap in strength between Naruto and the root organization. However, in fact, the intelligence of the two sides was not on the same level from the beginning. Naruto may not know the abilities, personalities, etc. of every member of the root organization, but he does have a certain understanding of the root organization and Danzo. On the other hand, what Danzo knows about Naruto is not complete. But he thought he knew everything about Naruto. How to take advantage of this gap in intelligence is the key to winning or losing this offensive and defensive battle. During this period, Naruto had to consider other things, such as the types of ninjutsu that members of the root organization can use. Ninjutsu attacks of a certain scale were first excluded by him. At least, Naruto did not think that Danzo could bear the responsibility of launching an attack on the nine-tailed Jinchuriki at his home. If Naruto were to attack the 6th generation Hinata at his home, he would still be able to find an excuse, but using range ninjutsu to attack without ensuring Naruto's safety would definitely not be justified. This is one of the reasons why range-type ninjutsu doesn't work. Continuous ninjutsu without self-judgment is also not possible, and ninjutsu such as Size Inc. is basically impossible. This is the second. The third is to consider the types of ninjutsu that Konoha village has. Although there are many people who meet these conditions, as far as Naruto knows, the ones that are threatening are the Nara clan's shadow manipulation ninjutsu, the Yamanaka clan's mind and body ninjutsu, and the Aburame clan's insect users. The Nara clan themselves have a certain degree of political acumen. It is difficult to say that they will join the root organization. Moreover, they themselves are also running Konoha's medicinal materials business, so there is no need to worry about their source of livelihood. Therefore, the possible threats are the Yamanaka clan and the Aburame clan. The presence of the Yamanaka clan has been confirmed in the battle just now. One of the unstable factors now is the Aburame clan's insect messengers. However, Naruto is quite certain that among the members of the root organization, there is no insect user clan. If so, then Naruto has no good way to deal with it and can only act according to circumstances. This is one of the issues to consider. Secondly, there is Danzo's purpose and the means he can use. This is actually not difficult to guess. The target must be the 6th generation Hinata, no doubt about it. As for the means, I'm afraid it would be to capture Naruto. After all, Danzo would not be able to do anything too obvious to harm Naruto. At this time, the advantage of intelligence was revealed. Danzo thought that Naruto did not know that he was the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, but Naruto himself knew it. Therefore, Naruto's tactics were used when Danzo used the rat-throwing weapon. Of course, just this gap cannot make up for the gap between the two sides, nor can it bring about a reversal of the results. No matter how hard the members of the root organization rode, no matter how hard Naruto tried, one-on-one might be possible, but against dozens of members of the root organization, they would only lose. While Naruto was thinking hard, suddenly, he had a flash of inspiration and thought of a very, very, very despicable and low-level tactic. Because it was really despicable, Naruto even used 3 very words to emphasize it. It can be said that this tactic is much more shameless than the methods Naruto used before. Naruto was silent for a moment, looking at the girl lying on the bed, who looked like a sleeping beauty, and made a decision in his heart. If you want to win, you have to be shameless. This is the essence of Namikaze Naruto Ryu's tactics. When Naruto made up his mind, the door opened and several members of the root organization entered. As soon as they came in, they had a tacit understanding and instantly killed Naruto's shadow clone on the ground. With a bang, Naruto's sinister shadow clone on the ground also disappeared. However, Naruto's mood did not waver, and he even exposed the shadow clones one after another. Several people from the root organization, surrounded by dozens of shadow clones, did not panic at all. After all, no matter how strong Naruto's shadow clone is, it is still only at the level of a Ninja Academy student. Even if his level is considered higher, it is still only at the genin level. Even if there are ninjas among them who are not good at close combat, they can still crush ninjas of this level with close combat. However, they were a little strange. Why did Naruto expose the shadow clone directly instead of continuing to hide and attack them secretly? At this moment, Naruto's shadow clone began to form seals. At the same time, he looked at these people and murmured, although it was just a temporary thought, this ninjutsu is a powerful ninjutsu I developed for you. You guys be careful. Perhaps out of conscience, Naruto reminded them anyway. When he thinks of the power of this ninjutsu, Naruto's mind will subconsciously think of the third Hokage who was killed instantly, and Kage Otsutsuki who was restrained. Both of them fell to this ninja. The same type of ninjutsu. That's right, it was the erotic seduction technique that Naruto was once proud of. However, this ninjutsu also has to change according to the person. For a sultry old man like the third Hokage and an older virgin like Otsutsuki Kagaya, the lethality is definitely adequate. However, it is hard to say for members of the root organization. They are all emotionless machines, how could they be disturbed by such ninjutsu? Generally I would think so. However, people all have weaknesses. As long as they are human, even if they so-called obliterate themselves, emotions, and reason, they will still have fixed, three views. There is no weakness, just because it cannot reach the bottom line of three views. For ordinary people, the reason why they are affected by this ninjutsu is because their bottom line is too high. This is the case for inexperienced men. The members of the root organization are different. Their bottom line in this regard is quite low, which can be described as unfathomably low, so this method is completely ineffective for them. It's like trying to use beauty to seduce a eunuch, trying to use beauty to seduce a gay, trying to use handsome guy to seduce a lily, it doesn't work at all. However, are members of the root organization invincible in this regard? No, that's not right. They still exist, and they will touch the bottom line in this regard. Even members of the root organization will fall prey to the powerful lure technique. This is the way Naruto had in mind to fight. A forbidden ninjutsu. In the minds of people in the root organization, they may be able to ignore all people of the opposite gender and all people of the same gender, but they cannot ignore one person. Yes, that person is the leader of the root organization who single-handedly cultivated the root organization. Shimura Danzo. Perhaps, they can resist Shibutu, beauty, and male lust, but only Danzo, a member of the root organization, cannot refuse. For some reason, when Naruto started to form the seals, the people in the root organization felt a chill. At this moment, they seemed to feel that some powerful monster had been awakened by them. That is a powerful monster that the members of the root organization cannot fight against. After realizing this, even if they didn't know what ninjutsu it was, they knew they had to stop Naruto from performing the ninjutsu. However, although they responded quickly, it was already too late. Universal color for root tissue lure technique, Shimura Danzo's Let 100 Flowers Bloom version. There was a banging sound, and Naruto's shadow clones began to change one after another. Several members of the root organization, even though they had been mentally prepared, were still shocked by the scene before them. What is that? They stopped in unison. Even if they know that this is just a transformation spell performed by the enemy, it is fake. However, at this moment, they still stopped. It wasn't that they had some strange fetish. They were simply shocked, and then accidentally took a second look. Tuan, Zhang, Master Zhang's naked apron. Tuan, Tan, Zhang Sama's school swimsuit. Dozens of Naruto's shadow clones, dressed in dozens of Danzo's styles. At this time, even though these members of the root organization had gone through countless hellish trainings and had their souls, body and mind forged like steel, they were still shocked. Shocking Dog Mom.jpg. Naruto 36 eggs. Naruto's shadow clones quickly seized the opportunity, each with a set of moves, and killed these members of the root organization instantly. In a ninja battle, even a moment's distraction can be enough to determine the winner. Even the experienced ninjas of the root organization were defeated at this moment when they were distracted. This is the cruelty of ninja combat. Naruto released his transformation technique, allowing the shadow clones to continue their ambush. During this battle, he gradually understood the essence of Namikaze Naruto-style tactics and incorporated more knowledge about that Naruto. First, calm down. Second, be shameless. However, the next battle may be even more dangerous. Naruto knew that at least one person in the root organization had the ability to use the heart-turning technique. After facing the destruction of the group this time, Danzo might send that person out again next. To deal with that person, Naruto couldn't use this ninjutsu as easily as he did this time. He had to arrange it carefully. At least, let the person from the mountain clan inflict pain on him before returning to his true body. In this way, once he returns with the pain, he will probably lose consciousness and be unable to bring back any valid information. This was all Naruto could think of to effectively cut off the other party's use of the heart-turn technique to obtain information. Naruto took a deep breath and made a plan in his mind, and at this moment, the door opened. No matter how weak Naruto is, Yamaphase will never underestimate him, or in other words, these accompanying members of the root organization will never underestimate him. After all, this man, with the power of a ninja academy student, defeated monsters such as members of the root organization and other well-trained Anbu ninjas one after another. The members of the root organization are not only the Anbu of Konoha, but also the Anbu of Anbu, the elite of the Anbu. But even if they were like this, several members were still defeated by Naruto. It has to be said that no one thought of this. Even though the root organization was subject to many restrictions in this battle, it could not erase their surprise. Naruto's strength, in Yamaphase's view, could no longer be defined by common sense as a ninja academy student. However, Shanfang believed that no matter how strong Naruto was or how outstanding his tactics were, when Shanfang entered the room again, the winner would have been decided. Perhaps, Naruto had a plan that was careful enough to eliminate several members of the root organization. However, if the content of this calculation is exposed, then with Naruto's strength, the outcome of this offensive and defensive battle will not be surprising. What's more, this time the mountain wind came in without any preparation like last time. As soon as Shanfang came in, he followed the location of Naruto's shadow clone's chakra that he sensed in his memory, and launched attacks one after another. Naruto's shadow clones turned into smoke and disappeared. Shanfang had underestimated Naruto before and thought that the chakra reaction in the room was just the result of interference. However, the previous confrontation made him clear that these chakra reactions did exist and could be shadow clones or shadow clones. It could be something else. Anyway, as soon as he entered the room, Yamaphase attacked all the chakra reactions he sensed. After Naruto realized that the shadow clone's ambush attack had no effect on Yamaphase, he released the shadow clone's transformation jutsu state and began to look directly at Yamaphase. Naruto looked at the mountain breeze. Shanfang also looked at Naruto. The two looked at each other. Shanfang wanted to know what Naruto's plan was, and Naruto also wanted to find a chance to defeat Shanfang. The two did not have a stalemate. Instead, they each stared at each other for 5 seconds before engaging in psychological warfare. Naruto said slowly, "Well, it seems that this little trick is useless to you, so I will come up with a ninjutsu that is enough to defeat the person just now. Look, this is the ninjutsu I used to defeat them just now, the seduction technique." Naruto used the normal version this time. Looking at the sultry girl, Shanfang was unmoved, and at the same time he was a little doubtful. Could it be that Naruto used this trick to defeat the members of the root organization just now? No, it's definitely not this move. Shanfang can be sure that the members of their root organization will not be disturbed and affected by this level of transformation. Naruto must have other methods. Seeing that Shanfang was still unmoved, Naruto showed a somewhat embarrassed expression, but after a long time, he clenched his fists and said, "You still saw through it, so that's it. Indeed, I didn't use this trick to defeat them just now. Let me show you the ninjutsu I used to defeat them just now." Harem surgery. This time, Naruto conjured dozens of beautiful girls to seduce. After Shanfang saw this, he still did not waver. Even if the number increases, it is impossible for the members of his root organization to waver. Naruto was still lying. Shanfang thought in his mind, could it be that the ninjutsu used by Naruto just now consumed a lot of chakra, so he is taking the time to recover now? The more Shanfang thought about it, the more likely it became. After hearing this, he took action simply. However, just as the mountain wind approached Naruto, Naruto suddenly began to form seals. This sudden movement made Shanfang suspect that Naruto might have been releasing water just now, so he stopped again. At this time, Naruto completed the seal. With Yamaphase on guard, the one he used was actually similar in nature to the first two ninjutsu. However, this ninjutsu only made the girl appear with a better figure. At this moment, Shanfang no longer hesitated and launched an attack quickly. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.